NASCAR kicks off its regular season at the biggest event on the planet. Welcome to the greatest spectacle in racing and the Great American Race. It's the Daytona 500 here in Florida at the Daytona International Speedway. Let's take a look at the track then. It's all about getting a good entry into turns 3 and 4 to really build up the speed. This is going to be crucial as the race goes on and in the single lap qualifying format. High line as you swoop in towards the tri-oval section. Keep it high, small turn as you hit the banking across the control line. Now keep your foot pinned down, approaching up already at 195 miles per hour as you approach turn 1. Light turns, bring it down low, really hug the inside low line of the banking. Sometimes as well, you get a little bit of oversteer, just got to correct in terms of drafting as well. You've got to be careful. Is someone above you? Is someone behind you? That's going to give you a bump that couldn't settle the rear of the car, especially drifting down the back stretch in towards turn 3 and 4. Same approach as turns 1 and 2. Take a nice high line in and sweep down low to really get the best of the line. Careful, because where the banking hits the pavement road or the flat surface, there's a nasty bump. Get on that and be spun round. There's a pit entry as well to dive in if you need a stop. We're expecting a lot of those on Sunday. Cross the line, and that's a lap of the Daytona International Speedway. Welcome to JB Motorsports and USRN for the Duels here at Daytona. Night has fallen, the track is beautifully illuminated, and 2 Duels ahead of us with 21 cars out on the track first as well. Drivers racing their way into the 500, trying to find the right optimum speed. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, Matthew's very kindly already introduced me, so I think it's very kind that I introduce him as well. Matthew, what are you looking forward to coming into today's race?
Well, again, for decades, this has been a day that has been just as intense as any other day in Speed Week, save for the final 100 miles or so of the Daytona 500. As the years have wore on, as time has worn on, we haven't had as many entries in these races, meaning that not as many drivers go home, but still we will be going through the process of locking 2 people into the 500 on Sunday and sending 2 people home. That is as gut-wrenchingly nerve-wracking as it could possibly be for any drivers to have to face possible elimination from the Daytona 500 field, the biggest stock car race in the world. Add into that potion, Jimmy Johnson is not locked in. The Toyota struggled mightily in single-car time trials last night. Johnson in a Toyota now, which still sounds very strange just to say. But he did not time his way in. He's going to have to race his way in tonight. We'll detail how that will happen, how that can happen for all of the drivers, the 4 of them going for spots in the 500 tonight. For Johnson, it is probably the simplest, but that does not mean it's a sure thing. Anything can happen in these super speedway races, as we know.
And as you said earlier on USRN, down to the pits for us, just in case anything goes wrong TV-wise, with the super feed as it is. Josh T is with us in the pits. He'll be back up with us in the comms box alongside Alan Lemridge on Sunday's 500 here on JB Motorsports. Josh, evening to you. Are you looking forward to the Duels? And if anything goes wrong, you're our technical support.
Yep, hello, just behind, and I've just had a countdown in my ears from the officials radio for the command, which is about to happen as well out on track, but just behind the scenes, if anything goes wrong, I'll be here.
It's going to be good. We're going to have that feed, by the way, Matthew, with the scanners and the all feed. So don't worry, I've got that sorted. We'll hear everything. And I'm buzzing now. Are you buzzing? This is it, isn't it? This is the start. The first time we properly go green of the year. I know we had the clash, but this is the big one. These 2 races are just perfect.
Yeah, we naturally build up to it, like we said last night, as we're about to get the command here.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there you go. Like I was saying, we have a natural build-up to this moment. Again, as we were talking about last night, no practice, which is still strange. But we go through the single car time trials last night, see who's fast by themselves. Now we see whose car is one, fast in the draft, two, and more importantly, which cars handle the best in the draft. And I think as we go throughout the night, all eyes are on Toyotas. I don't know if you feel differently, Josh, but last night, the main story was Toyota's massive struggling in qualifying. Now, that is not any different from past history when we come down to qualifying on super speedways like Daytona, Talladega, and now Atlanta, that the Toyotas aren't fast by themselves. But this is a new Toyota, the new body on the Camry. Will it drive in the draft in a pack as well as the Toyotas of the past have? That, I think, is probably the biggest story of the night, other than who makes the Daytona 500 and who does not.
I agree with you. I'm with you 110% on this one as well. It just seems to be all in the air, doesn't it, in terms of Toyota? What have they done with their new car? Why is it not as fast as we were expecting it to be straight out the market compared to that of the new Ford, which took pole position? So Toyota, especially with that of the Legacy Motor Club of Jimmy Johnson not making it through, raised eyebrows. But even Jimmy said on the media day, didn't he, on Thursday, I'm not, it's Thursday today, so Wednesday for everyone back in the States as well. He said, I'm not doing super speedway races because they're too dangerous. Getting the bump draft, it's too much. But you can't say no to the Daytona 500. That's the only reason he's doing it. If he doesn't do it, if he doesn't start, it's going to be one of the biggest upsets, I think, in a very, very long time. They've got to be very careful with how they handle the next 60 laps for Jimmy Johnson as he starts 18th on the grid.
Well, and since you brought it up, let's talk about how Jimmy Johnson can make the Daytona 500 field tonight. There's two different ways it can happen, and as complicated as this may seem, when the cars get on the track and we get a running order and we get a feel for things, it actually is quite simple. Jimmy can race his way into the 500 by being the highest finishing open car in this first race. That would mean beating J.J. Yaley and Anthony Alfredo. If he finishes the best of that group of three, he races his way in. If Anthony Alfredo is the highest finisher of that three-car group, Jimmy still makes it in. The reason why is Alfredo timed his way in last night. He was one of the fastest two open cars last night, which means if he doesn't race his way in tonight, he can fall back on speed. But if he does race his way in, if he is the highest finishing of the open cars, then he is in on this race, and the speed drops then down to Jimmy Johnson. So Johnson could time his way in off his qualifying run last night. Here's another way Jimmy could make it in. This is why the cards are stacked against J.J. Yaley in this first race. Last night in qualifying, Alfredo was the fastest of those three. Johnson was second. Yaley was third. That means Yaley not only has to beat Jimmy Johnson, he has to beat Anthony Alfredo as well. Again, remember what I just said. If Alfredo is the highest finisher, then he races his way in. The time aspect falls back to Johnson. So Yaley, the only way Yaley makes it in is if he finishes better than Alfredo and Johnson. So Johnson can either be the highest finisher of the three, be the second highest finisher of the three with Alfredo being the first, or he could be the third of the three as long as Yaley isn't the first. It sounds complicated. It's not as complicated as it sounds. So, again, the cards are stacked against J.J. Yaley. Jimmy Johnson has the best chance to get in through this race.
Really does. As we come up, the cars are out on the track as well, just doing their parade laps before they will come to the green flag to be given. Just checking in on the YouTube chat. Josh T behind the scenes already said hello, everybody. Google user, let's bleeping go. Jimmy will make the show, he says as well. Too many Joshes here along. My neighbour is Josh, watching along. Josh broadcast a race helped out by another Josh. And then also there's two Matts. There's Matthew Owens and then there's Matt White. They've got to get that used to when USRN take over as lead commentators, I think at race 3 or 4. Coming down, Justin White says, this is going to be good. I worked with BJ McLeod Motorsports. I'm not doing it this year. Sit back, relax and enjoy. Thanks for your company. this weekend as well. Google says, I bet Hovassar gets knocked out quickly as well. Could be the case. Now, they're on the track, lining up, and they're coming to the grid. Matthew, do you want to take us through it?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's give you the starting grid for this first Daytona 500 qualifying race. Joey Logano, the pole sitter for the Daytona 500, the pole sitter for this race. And if you were with us on USRN, you heard in the open, he says he's coming out to race tonight. He's not just going to protect his pole-winning car. More on that as we go on. Kyle Larson is with him in row 1. Row 2, Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon, both are former winners of a Daytona 500 qualifying race. Row 3 is Ross Chastain in the Busch Light Chevrolet, along with Todd Gilliland for Front Row Motorsports. A brace of Fords set up in row 4, Ryan Preece and Chris Buescher. Alex Bowman is in row 5 at his Chevrolet alongside the Chevrolet of Daniel Suarez. Anthony Alfredo starts 11th. He's in the Daytona 500 no matter what happens tonight based on his qualifying speed from last night. He's in row 6 with Eric Jones. Row 7, Daniel Hemrick and Martin Truex Jr. Row 8 is Ty Gibbs and the defending winner of the Daytona 500, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Corey LaJoie and Jimmy Johnson is in row 9. Row 10 is Tyler Reddick and Carson Hocevar. And in the 21st and final starting spot is J.J. Yaley for the New York Racing Team. He has to be the highest finishing open car in this race to make the Daytona 500. That is the 21-car starting field for tonight's race, made up of a dozen Chevrolets, 5 Toyotas, and 4 of the new Ford Dark Horse Mustang.
Speaking of people making their return to super speedways, how about Ryan Preece, who's going to be in this one as well? Last time he raced at Daytona, and in fact, last time he raced that was here. Super speedway, over 12 barrel rips as well. He lines up on the grid as well. Now, he's 7th. Do you think he's going to be a little bit nervous that the big one could happen?
I would say the first time he goes by the back straightaway at speed in a draft, it'll probably just tickle the back of his mind. But these race car drivers are just the most incredibly mentally tough beings on the planet. They'll get over it, basically, is what will happen. They just won't think about it, which is amazing.
Any favourites that you think is going to take the victory in the first duel as well? Can we write off Logano having long race pace? I mean, he was fantastic yesterday. They only wanted to 181 mile an hour in the speed trials. I think that Ford's just going to take off.
Well, let's see what happens, because, again, they had it trimmed out, obviously, to go very fast by itself. Now, how does it act in the draft? Now, again, if you were with us on USRN, you heard this in the open. If you haven't heard it, let me go ahead and repeat it. Joey said last night, post-qualifying, he's not going to go to the back and protect this car. Because, remember, if Logano gets into an accident tonight and they have to go to the backup car, he forfeits his pole position for Sunday. So that's been the question for years upon years. Do the front row cars, not the front row motorsports cars, the cars starting on the front row Sunday, do they just drop to the back and protect their car? Some guys say, yes, that's what you do. Other people say you don't learn anything by doing that. You don't learn if your car is good in a draft. And Joey Logano's never going to sit back and just ride. So we're going to see Joey start at the front. Can he stay at the front? How will the car handle? We know how aggressive he is. Also worth mentioning, 3 Hendrick cars in this race, and Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Alex Bowman. We know how teamwork is so huge in these super speedway races. You've got 3 of those Hendrick cars in this race, and 2 of them start right at the front together with Larson and Elliott.
Nice to see Larry McReynolds actually in a commentary booth as well at Daytona. They've flown him out for this one as well. Usually he's locked away, isn't he, in a room in California studios. So nice to see him actually up there and communicating. I hope that doesn't mean that he's planning on retiring. This is his last 500 working. That's not the way to go. Just keep on as long as you can there, Larry Mack. But Josh T, who's in the pit lane, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this one before we head to the green flag. What do you think is going to happen in this first duel?
Well, I'm hoping for some good, clean racing. Pit lane is clear. The pace car is going down. It's time for the start of the duels.
And the first ever race of the season is about to get underway in terms of racing speed on a super speedway. I would have said, well, there's 2 races tonight, so let's treat it equally. I'll hand over to fellow lead commentator of the NASCAR series. It's only right that the Matthew Owens, the Oracle, the knowledge of all, kicks us off. It's your show as too, mate. I'm here next. It's down to you.
Remember, there will be a pit stop that has to be made in this race. These drivers cannot go 60 laps or 150 miles on fuel. They'll pit, we expect, anytime past lap 30 if we stay under green flag conditions. So here we go then. The first full race in a draft, in a pack for Speed Weeks 2024 set to go. Pace car peels off and leaves the field in the hands of Joey Logano and Kyle Larson, who sit on the front row. They look ahead to the flag stand. Green flag is unfurled. It's time to drop the hammer at Daytona. Joey Logano takes off from the inside of row 1 and puts the nose of his Mustang ahead of Kyle Larson, who gets a shot in the shorts from Austin Dillon topside. Bit of a straddled start on that top lane. Only 2 cars are nose to tail as they hit the banking of turns 1 and 2 for the first time. But still, that front line of Logano and Larson are nose-to-nose, dead even as they hit the back straightaway for the first time, Josh.
Absolutely fantastic start from Joey Logano as well, but I'm watching Chase Elliott keeping up in that number 9 car, just staying in the right position as well. Let's see what's going to happen as they hit down, and already Logano's losing out. He's down into second position. Kyle Larson takes the lead. Will he shut him off as they come down the tri-oval section? Yes, first lap of the Duels complete, and it's Kyle Larson leading the way. Dillon versus Logano as they cross the line.
But Larson leads the opening lap. That inside lane now recoils down next to that double yellow line where Joey Logano leads the train, followed by Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain. They hit the west banking of turns 1 and 2 again, but it's Larson in front. Austin Dillon square on the back bumper. Todd Gilliland is third on that outside lane. He had a good run in his qualifying race a year ago. Still, it is Larson and now Dillon pulling through on the top side, but here comes Logano macheting his way back on the inside.
He hasn't got a car ahead of him, so he's having to get pushed by Todd Gilliland as well. But look at Suarez already pushing the back through, and those on the low line losing out massively. Buescher up into 5th position as well. Jones up to 9th. Look at Alfredo down into 14th position. Jimmy Johnson only made up 1 place. He's in 17th, now 16th. He's side by side with Alfredo. The top 2 though breaking clear. Dillon choosing the low line as they come through turn 2. Going up high, Todd Gilliland.
Now Larson and Dillon drop to the inside almost in unison as they continue to work together, those 2 Chevrolet Camaros. So now Gilliland in that Ford leads the outside lane. Remember, he nearly won his qualifying race a year ago, which would have been a terrific upset. It nearly happened, and here he is at the front. He's put his nose ahead of Austin Dillon in the scrap for the 2nd position.
Interesting that Alfredo's chosen the low line coming through turns 3 and 4. Johnson stuck on the high line as well, so he'll be chewing up more of his tyres, trying to keep up. Yellowly down 21st position. Last of all, Larson leads Gilliland. Dillon down to 3rd position as well. The 47's in a bit of trouble, getting a bit of bump draft side by side. That is with, I think, is that Logano with the 43 instead? Yeah, so there's Suarez down in 6th position. Logano takes 5th. Top 3 though, Matthew, broken away. So now they've found a draft that works for them. Single line draft from the low line.
Yeah, Chris Buescher has latched onto that top 3, so now the front 4 are single file, leaving Daniel Suarez to lead that outside lane in his Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet, and he's now getting a good push at the back door, courtesy of Eric Jones. So Jones, in the highest starting of the Toyotas, pushes Suarez up alongside Gilliland as they sweep up out of turn number 4, through the tri-oval and back to the line, and Larson's lead is tenuous on the challenger that is now Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, a lot of good runs through 3 and 4, and here comes Suarez. He'll take the high line through the turn 1 and 2 banking, 31 degrees through these corners, and he's got the lead. Daniel Suarez takes the lead. Is Larson going to drop back to 3rd because Eric Jones is going to have 2nd position, and now Suarez takes the low line, and that's going to put side by side with Jones. Larson down to 3rd position in a battle with Truex Jr.
Yeah, seeing some Toyota start to get to the front. Now, we wondered, would they draft well? So far they are, with Jones being pushed by Martin Truex Jr. topside. They're still led by Daniel Suarez as they come up out of turn number 4. But Jones has it wound up topside. He has a run. He pulls to the right elbow of Suarez.
Ooh,
and
Larson!
Eric Jones, who run here at Daytona a couple of times, is going to lead this lap. Eric Jones to the lead for Legacy Motor Club.
Larson tapped the back of Suarez. Suarez got unsteady in the tri-oval section. I thought they were going to go round, it was that close, but Larson's literally pushing him round the track. Forget bump drafting, it's a bit like Larson's turned into a forklift truck. But just want to pick up, look at Jimmy Johnson already up into 10th position. Alfredo down into 18th place now, and Yellowly up into 19th. That's with the change around how quickly. Johnson up to 9th, and now there's Truex around the outside. Look how much pace he's got behind Eric Jones. And again, Suarez looking so unstable in that draft through 3 and 4. They're side by side as they come towards the tri-oval, and I think Martin Truex is going to try and do something about it as well. He takes second position. He's pushed Suarez as they come across the line, and it's Truex up to second.
So those Toyotas linking up topside with Jones and Truex, and they have gone to the front. They've got a couple of Chevrolets in behind, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Corey LaJoie as they go back to turn 1. By the way, just wanted to mention, it's not surprising to see Anthony Alfredo go to the back. He's already in the Daytona 500. That's an underfunded team for Beard Motorsports. They want to protect that car. Would not be surprised if Alfredo just hangs out back in this race, which is good news for Jimmy Johnson.
He has indeed. He's dropped right back to 21st position. He's 10th off the back of Yellowly as well. But great stuff from Jimmy Johnson to get up into 8th position. He's lost none of it, has he? He may have been a bit slow in IndyCar, but the 7-time champion fits right back into the old gloves as they come across again. Now Suarez dropping back to 3rd in a battle with Steinhaus and Corey LaJoie. Larson down in, I think, 6th position now, falling back. And Jones doesn't know whether he wants to go high or low, sort of goes middle through 1 and 2, upsets Truex's hero package, and Ricky Steinhaus Jr. goes right round the outside and takes 2nd position. Now look at Jones, so slow down the back straight away.
Yeah, and Stenhouse got a good run on a push by LaJoie, but now Truex sucks up right underneath the spoiler of Jones, gives him a nice little shot on the entry to turn 3. So Jones and Truex stay 1st and 2nd. Then the fight is on for 3rd behind as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. topside has Daniel Suarez to his left elbow. That outside line is moving, and the 3rd car in that outside lane is the Jimmy Johnson car as he drafts in behind Stenhouse and LaJoie as they rumble back towards turn number 1. Eric Jones, the leader. Mentioned earlier, Jones does have a couple of wins here at Daytona. He won a 400-mile race here in the second half of the season. That was a handful of years back when he was still driving for Joe Gibbs, and he's won a Busch Clash here. In fact, I believe that was the last time the Clash was run at Daytona. He's won here a couple of times. He knows how to get it done in the draft.
Look at this. We were thinking that the Toyotas might be the slowest ones in the field. They are 1-2 at the moment as, well, typical. They go to advertisement break, but we can continue because Josh T's got the international feed. So while they go to a break...
47.
That was the officials feed I heard in the background. So they're talking about the 47 going through as well. So who are they wanting to see? Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who's taken the lead of the race at the front there as well as we ride on board with them. So good start already as well, Matthew. I'm really enjoying the way this is going. And again, it's close action racing. It's what we like to see.
You're right. Stenhouse did get that run up off the outside from Corey LaJoie and ducked to the bottom. So Stenhouse, one of the most aggressive super speedway racers that we have in the sport, has worked his way to the front, and he will be aggressive in blocking. If a lot of the audience on YouTube is used to coming on JB Motorsports and listening to IndyCar and Formula One and so on, where blocking is, well, illegal, it is most certainly not here, and Stenhouse is one of the biggest blockers. He will weave back and forth. He will drive, now that he's gotten to the lead, he will drive more out of the rearview mirror than he will the windshield of that Chevrolet. So Stenhouse, the defending 500 winner, to the lead. That leaves Corey LaJoie now to lead that outside line.
Good stuff as well as they come back into the tri-oval. Just look at the timing screen as well between it. 0.092 between them at the moment, but Anthony Alfredo has dropped to the back. Keeping an eye on Jimmy Johnson up into 5th position at the moment. Absolutely fantastic stuff as they will continue to attack. And coming up on the high line as well, Truex and Jimmy Johnson coming in, Daniel Suarez as well. So Johnson's not standing back in that Carvana livery. He's going full pedal to the metal.
Yeah, and again, if he stays there, he will race his way into the Daytona 500. Alfredo, as you mentioned, has dropped straight to the back. And J.J. Yaley, that underfunded New York racing team, just does not have the horses. He is still mired back in 20th. So everything is looking very good for Johnson to race his way in if he can keep the nose of that number 84 car clean. By the way, in the Mixer chat section, our good friend Redbox is with us. He said he's finally got his Mixler account figured out. Good evening to everybody. Well, we say hi to you. .com on the Mixler app, and of course, you can watch us live on YouTube at JB Motorsports, as we have done the last couple of nights. So, just underway in this first Daytona 500 qualifying race. And do we have a battle for the lead? Yes, we do. Top side, Corey LaJoie got the push from Jimmy Johnson. And here comes Corey LaJoie from Mooresville, North Carolina, to the lead down the super stretch.
And Johnson takes over as finally our pictures have popped into HD on the TV pictures, which is even better to work out who's who. So Jimmy Johnson now down to 4th, but it's Stonehouse still leading, but Corey LaJoie side by side. This is it. It's 2 side-by-side battles, exactly what we wanted to see. And Jamie Little's in the pits.
See it in Jimmy's face. He's never been in this situation before, as you guys talked about, so he was curious how it was going to race. It's the first time ever racing a Toyota. The only feedback he's given so far is he's loose.
So Jimmy Johnson's having trouble. He's loose, which is not great, but he's doing amazingly well to keep up into 4th position. Bring it on.
Well, and again, the only other time where Jimmy would have been in a situation like this where he had to race his way into the 500 would have been his rookie year. But in his rookie year, he went out in time trials and won the pole. So he did not have to race his way in as a rookie. Here he is now 22 years later having to race his way in to the 500 through the qualifying races, which is just wild to think about. Let's pick up Joey Logano, the pole sitter, Josh. He has backslid 17 positions. He's dropped to 18th from the pole.
Yeah, I can see him. He's right at the back of this little train, isn't he? I think that was what you said was most likely to happen, for him to sort of go back, just don't want to get involved, don't want to make too much drama. But in my opinion, it's the worst place to be, because if a big one happens, you're right there. You're right in the mix of it. So I would have gone opposite. I wanted to lead and win, because if you're first, no one's going to be wrecking behind you.
What's interesting, the Fords, they were the belle of the ball last night in single car time trials. But all of a sudden, now that we're in a big pack together, there's not a single Ford in the top 10. Gilliland is 11th, Buescher is 17th, Logano is 19th, Preece is 20th. So all the Fords that started at the front based on their speed last night in single car runs, now in this pack, not a single one in the top half of the field.
And as we were saying before the commercial break there for Fox, how great is it to see that it's the Toyotas who are right up there after we were so panicked about them yesterday, and they're now going right for it, including Jimmy Johnson, who's about to, I believe, make it 3 Toyotas inside the top 6. It is 3 Chevys, 3 Toyotas.
Well, and sorry, you made mention earlier about Daniel Suarez's car looking a bit unstable, and I just saw it there in the middle of 3 and 4. Kyle Larson got right underneath the spoiler of that 99 car, and it jumped a little sideways in the middle of the corner. This would be around the time where if you have any handling issues are going to start popping up. 16 laps now on the tires. Now, of course, we are under the lights. Very cool. Temperatures mid-60s. So the tires aren't going to wear as badly as they might during the daytime, but this is going to be the time we start to see some handling issues pop up, and I don't like how unstable the 99 car has looked here these last couple of laps. Larson, the one directly behind him, is going to have to be very wary of getting right up to the bumper cover of Suarez's car.
We're just seeing as well, coming into it as well, Corey LaJoie side by side with Martin Truex Jr. as he comes across the line. So Truex is just going to keep it low as they swing past again. We've popped out of HD, which is really annoying, but hopefully we'll fix that when the international feed comes in on Sunday. But Johnson still in 5th position as they take to the banking. And just love hearing the cars go by. Can't just stop myself. But this is really good. Oh, get away from Kevin Harvick's happy hour. Get away. We want to see the action and the graphics. That's what we need up here. It's a race going on. So Corey LaJoie in the 47, in the number 7, chasing down the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., is that going to make a play for the lead in the next few laps or so? Because he's down in 4th position at the moment, but he is chasing hard. And he's getting that bump through as well.
Yeah, well, again, Stenhouse as aggressive as they come, so we'll see if he wants to line some guys up behind him and try to make a push to the front. I see Google user in the chat section. I want to know why Alfredo fell all the way back. I think that was probably the plan for Big Pasta, as they like to call him. I think that was probably the plan from the beginning. That's an underfunded team. They don't want to get in any kind of trouble to ruin their primary car. They do not want to have to go to the backup car. They're already in the 500. They don't have to perform on any level tonight. So they're just going to drop to the back, make some laps, put some miles on the motor, and that's it. I don't think Anthony Alfredo is going to push the issue and risk damaging that car. So I think that would be what's going on with Anthony Alfredo. I just want to make mention, the draft, we always call it the great equalizer. All week long, we've talked about how not fast that 44 car of J.J. Yaley is, but boy, they've put it right in the draft, and he is climbing up to 13th as, oh boy, Stenhouse went down on the back straightaway to block LaJoy, and LaJoy is getting split left and right, 3 wide for the first time tonight.
And that feels absolutely horrible when you're going as fast as you can and cars just start streaming past you. The rev limiter's going, no, I can't give it anymore, and you are just flying backwards. It's like you've put bricks on the bottom of your shoes and jumped into a lake. You just go whoop, straight down to the bottom. But now, again, he's starting to pick up with the draft and sort of stabilizes. Where did that drop him down to? 12th position. Wow.
Yeah, and J.J. Yaley got caught up in that. Yaley got kind of shuffled out into the wrong line. I just talked about how he was 13th and putting himself perhaps in position to get up to Jimmy Johnson, but then he got in the wrong line. He got shuffled out when they got 3 wide in front of him, and now he dropped 7 positions just like that. So all that on Yaley, and now he's going to have to make his way back towards the front again. Again, the only way Yaley makes it in is if he beats both Alfredo and Johnson here tonight. We are a third of the way through this first 150-mile qualifying race, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has worked his way back to the front. He's got Eric Jones and Martin Truex Jr. in tow, second and third. The rally on the outside is coming from Jimmy Johnson. He's the one that's trying to make that outside lane move, and how interesting is it, Josh, that Johnson is running right beside the 48 car?
Exactly as planned, I would say, as well, isn't it? It's just getting so perfect as they continue to try and fly back down the straightaway. I've got this little proposition to make you know that we're going to see Jimmy Johnson maybe take the victory. I know I've said that, and now it probably won't happen, but this is just... It's getting to the stage that I wouldn't not believe myself, if you know what I mean, as I come up to the triable section once again to start another lap time. So it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. leading, Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson in the top 5, Jimmy Johnson just sitting out there. But the first 4 are sort of separated. They've got the gap between them. We can see on the international feed that Josh T is providing for us up here in the comms box while we wait for the our feed to come in on Fox Sports. And again, the 43 just pushing the back as well. So this is Eric Jones going with Stenhouse Jr. for the lead of the duel here.
Just, let's see, comment from Jeremy C. on YouTube. I'm new to NASCAR, and maybe you guys can help me out. What's the point of the duels? So, yeah, we only do this one time of year. We will not have any more qualifying races the rest of the year. We only do it for the Daytona 500. But the drivers that qualified last night in single-car time trials, the cars that qualified first, third, fifth, seventh, ninth in the odd-numbered positions, they're running in this first race. Drivers that qualified in the even-numbered positions, they're running in the second race. This is how the field will get set. The drivers that qualified first...
Oh, we've lost them. The internet's gone up here in the comms box. That's really, really annoying. It says
side row for the starting grid on, and it also sets us the 40 car field.
We lost you for a brief second, but you're back now. We heard that. As just in time, actually, as it comes back on side by side, Stans Jr., Jones, Truex Jr. on the back straightaway coming into it. So, again, having a lot of action. We stayed green for the entire time, Matthew. I didn't expect that.
Well, and historically speaking, these two qualifying races, you'll have one that's very calm and then one that's not so calm. So far, so good here as we have a challenge on the outside coming from Martin Truex Jr. He jumped up to the outside when Kyle Larson started to make some headway. So now Larson pushes Truex along in the draft and to the lead. So Martin Truex Jr., that bright orange and black 19, he goes to the front of the field with Larson tightly in behind him as they head back to the stripe to complete lap 25 of 60.
Regular season champion last year, Martin Truex Jr. as well. You can see why. He's right up there with a brand new Toyota. Was a bit unsure, we all were, after speed trials yesterday, but it seems to be working. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going together. So the two juniors battling it out in the back straightaway. Stenhouse going to have it side by side. Look at that, Larson and Jones in there too. As they come up to it, they're all going to swap over. They're both getting bumped. This is fantastic. Truex on the outside line getting bumped by Larson, and Jones pushing Stenhouse to the lead as they come through 3 and 4 and blast past us once more.
Stenhouse up out of turn 4. He dropped from the bottom to the top to try to block Truex. I mentioned earlier, Stenhouse is an aggressive blocker, and he was able to chop right across the nose of Truex to hold on to the lead. But on the backstretch, Kyle Larson gave Martin Truex Jr. a shot, got him out of shape. The bumpers of these cars, the front bumper to the back, they don't align very smoothly. So when you're going and giving pushes on the straightaway, you've got to be really careful to not get anyone out of shape as Truex makes another assault for the lead, and he's slicing to the outside of Stenhouse.
Yeah, and Larson's come into it as well, taking second position. That Toyota didn't get a bump from Larson at all. He was about 200 meters clear of him. It was pure pace from Martin Truex Jr. on that back stretch. As they come in, now he's getting a touch from Larson as they come into the triangle. The rear getting a little bit unstable. That's going to allow Stenhouse to come back along the inside line. Larson's there too. That's going to Constantino if they're not careful as Truex gets the lead. And Larson backs off the throttle just a little bit, pushes him back into the clutches of Eric Jones. Johnson's in there too, and coming up into 4th position as they attempt the back into turn 2 once more to the backstretch. Wow!
A lot of Toyotas starting to queue up on that outside line. You've got Truex, Johnson, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick. 4 of the first 5 on the outside line are Toyotas. The second car in line, however, is the Chevrolet of Larson, who has some pressure to his left elbow coming up out of turn number 4. That's from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. again. So Stenhouse going for second on Larson. He got right over to the door of Larson's car. The side drafting maneuver that we like to call it. Stenhouse is good at it, and he's used it to get by Larson, and now he's nose to nose with Truex for the lead of the race.
And this is going to be a battle of wills between the two of them as well. Truex just holding on, but he's starting to lose out. That high line takes more speed, more energy to get through. Look at that already flying back. This is to Larson. He's getting a push, and Jones right there too. Well, yesterday was Valentine's Day. Today, pucker up. They're all kissing on that back stretch into turn 3 and 4. Here comes the 84. Johnson just sort of trying to come down to that low line. He's trying to drift in, but he's got Suarez and Gibbs right there. Truex leads. Stenhouse, Larson, Jones across the line once again as we approach half distance here at Daytona.
And Johnson in a very interesting position here, third on the outside lane. He just needs to keep the nose of that car clean. He's well ahead of J.J. Yaley by about 12 or 13 positions. Johnson doesn't need to get himself into a difficult position here racing towards the front. Again, a lot of people say the front is where to be to avoid the carnage. That's not always the case, especially when you've got a guy like Stenhouse up there racing at the front who can throw a block, and if it goes wrong, start a big accident right at the pointy end of the field.
That is true. You've got to remember who's at the front, but I'd throw in Truex as well. He's caused his fair share of accidents over the years, but he's taken the lead, and is he going to swing down low? Got Larson in there too. Over the control line they go into 1 and 2 out of the tri-oval. And now Larson's pushed Truex to the front, still taking that high line. Stannis and Jones down low, and Truex has got it. If he wants to, he can block down the back straightaway and just cut off Steinhaus, but no, he's lost it through turn 2. Do it now. Cut down low, because you've got Larson pushing you, so let him take a couple of bits. No, he's not gonna. Truex leads.
Larson just shoving Truex down the back straightaway. And again, the front bumper of that Chevrolet doesn't align with the rear bumper of that Toyota. One bad push, and we're going to have real catastrophe. But I don't think Truex wants to bail on Larson, because he knows Larson can give him really good pushes down these straightaways, just like he did last time down the super stretch. They're back in turn 1.
And now we've popped back into HD, which gives my eyes a nice rest. I forgot how good it actually is watching this thing in HD, as we were in 480 for a little bit. Oh, they're going to go to a break to spoil my fun. Martin Truex Jr. leads with 28 to go here at Daytona, Duel 1. Always fun,
Just
isn't it?
to update you, Haley 16th, Jimmy Johnson in now what is being scored 3rd or 4th, it looks like, for Johnson. Of course, positions change so quickly when they run side by side like this. So still Johnson in control of his destiny to make the 500. But again, everyone's going to have to make a pit stop. You cannot make it 150 miles without stopping for fuel. We're into the second half of the race. When do these guys come down pit road is the question. Fuel window is about 40 to 45 laps. So we're probably right around 10 laps away from seeing green flag pit stops if they do stay green. And of course, coming to pit road on these super speedways is a huge undertaking, Josh, because you're going so fast, 190, 195 miles an hour, and you're all in one tight draft. You've got to woe it down, get it down to pit road speed limit. That's 70 miles an hour. No pit speed limiters on these cars like we see in other racing series. So they're going to have to get on the binders, go from 190 to 70, and you have to get onto pit road as close to single file as possible to not cause an accident. Oh, by the way, when you're in a big pack like this, when you're decelerating by about 120 miles an hour, we have seen a lot of pileups just by cars trying to get to pit road here on these super speedways. And I think that might be why we're going to start seeing some guys just getting a single file line prior to pit stops.
Say again, Josh T.
There's a penalty post to 62 for too fast on pit road.
That's Alfredo.
Well, there's something else that you've got to watch out for when you're trying to go from 190 to 70 to get to pit road. It's really hard not to speed in those first 2 or 3 zones on pit road. So Alfredo, who has dropped out of the draft
Zones
as
5 to 12, it was.
Zones 5 to 12. So he was fast just in all of them.
How are you getting this information so quickly? I know you're down in the pit lane, but which data screen are you looking at for that?
The beauty of the officials' radio.
Oh, right, okay. It's not working for me still, so it didn't work last time out. It's not working for me now. Hopefully I'll fix that going into it. But that's wonderful. That's why I think, I've honestly said it, I'll say it again, NASCAR, I think, is the best, and I will say it again, the best media outlet of the lot right now. The amount of information we've got is fantastic.
Just hearing that he was too fast through, did you say 5 through 12? So he was fast in 7 sections?
Yep, I believe so.
Wow.
That must mean he did not get his tachometer set correctly during the pace laps. That's when you set the tachometer on the pace laps. They do not have a speedometer inside the car telling them how fast they're going. You set the tachometer by RPMs during the pace laps. He had to have set that wrong. If he was too fast in 7 consecutive sections, that just doesn't happen unless there's been a misjudgment on the tack.
That'd be absolutely hilarious if he just didn't brake at all. He's just like, oh, right, we're in the pit lane now. But yeah, that's a penalty coming in. He served it and gone through the pit lane. On to it, 24 to go. Loving hearing
and just to say, that's a mistake Jimmy Johnson cannot afford to make. Johnson is in the 500 by about 12 positions right now on J.J. Yaley. But now that Alfredo he's going to go a lap down. here, right now, because he had fallen out of the draft. So with Alfredo out of the way, if Johnson gets caught for speeding on pit road, has to come down and make a pass-through penalty, he's out of the 500.
Wow.
So Johnson has to be, he can't speed, he can't make any contact with anyone, he can't cause a wreck. Johnson's got to be on point when it's time to come to pit road, which again, we expected about 5 to 8 laps.
Popped away again, the
Team
HD.
can't come out too soon as well.
That's true, yeah. Team can't jump over the barrier. Got to make sure it's all safe. Oh, listen to that. It was fantastic having NASCAR back on the super speedway. Johnson's up to 3rd position, talking about him down that back stretch. He's going to have a go at Larson. In fact, he's right up there, isn't he? This is great. Steinhaus trying to get alongside him. In fact, breezes through because he gets a push through from the 43 rated Jones.
Yeah, big push from Jones to Stenhouse. Look, Stenhouse was 4th down the back stretch. Now he's side by side with Truex for the lead. You pick up 10 miles an hour almost when you get a push like that on the straightaway that he got from Jones. By the way, a lot of people starting to move to the outside. What is there now? Just about 6 cars on that inside line. So when they start getting single file like that, you know they're getting ready to come to pit road. So again, should see it in a few laps.
So here we go again. Larson is beginning to drop back as well. He goes side by side with Steinhaus. They come down the back stretch in towards 3 and 4. Truex is still having the high line. He's not going to go down low to block off. 43 pushing him through as well. So that's going to be Jones. And in fact, in turn 3 and 4, Steinhaus takes the lead. Truex is dropping back.
I think everyone would like to get single file for these pit stops, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. does not want to do that. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wants to get to the lead and then keep the lead, and if he's not in the lead, he's not happy. So Stenhouse continues to rally that inside line. He wants to be at the front. That's kind of spoiling everybody else's chances of getting single file before these pit stops with 21 to go.
This is going to be a splash and dash at this rate, and Truex has gone down low, so has Steinhaus. Larson's going to take the high line, so I think Truex is going to dive into the pit lane at this rate as well. If Larson's taken the lead that much, track noise goes unbelievably loud on the helicopter, so Joey Johnson up to 2nd, but now takes the low line, so does Larson. So did Truex go early there? Because Larson's not going to get the lead, and is he going to come in? No, contact, and that might cause a yellow. They're okay, a little bit of contact, Truex backed out.
The Toyotas were trying to get to pit road, but Truex ran into the back of Tyler Reddick. And I don't know how they didn't crash. That was unbelievable.
Johnson was involved in that as well. He had to really lift off. In fact, we said about he couldn't speed on pit road. He literally lifted and coasted across the control line, the 54 in as well. So they're not going to lose a lap. In fact, Johnson's going to lead the entire 4 that came out. He's first. So it's Jones, Johnson, Gibbs, Reddick leaving the pit lane. Because Johnson's going to get leaped on coming onto the backstretch.
It's important for Johnson to be the first of those cars out in the draft. Now here comes one car to pit road. Who is that? I think, is that Eric Jones? Couldn't quite tell who that was coming in. It's actually Stenhouse.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's coming in just about by himself. He's got Austin Dillon with him, but that's about it.
That's it.
J.J. Yaley might be with him as well.
So they've dived in. They'll take over. Have we got pit road?
Scuffle happened. All of a sudden, his guys jumped up on the wall. They just asked him, do we need 2 or 4 tires? He said 2. It's all on the right side. And then you see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. behind him. He's been saving fuel the whole time. Hopefully they got enough.
Well, he was saving fuel. I don't know how. He was practically leading the draft for several laps coming through. So how much fuel do they actually have in that car?
Well, and again, if you're planning on only taking 2 tires or no tires at all, you cannot slide the tires under braking getting to pit road. So if you're planning on just taking no tires or 2 tires, you cannot slide the tires under braking. That's very important here, as looks like that Toyota group led by Johnson, 4 cars strong in that group, did get by Stenhouse and Dillon on the merge.
Now, computers put Yellowly ahead of Johnson. Is that correct? Which one are we looking on the monitor? Because I'm not entirely 100% that that's right. It is correct. So they've gone through the timing tower. So it is right. I thought it might be different, but it's not. Is Logano coming down? No, he stayed up high. Who is diving in? Chris Buescher set the fast lap of the race, by the way, at a 46.627. But everyone else just taking a couple more laps. Now this was the contact that nearly caused the caution, Matthew.
Yeah, Eric Jones was trying to go from top to bottom to get in line with all the Toyotas to come in. He waited too late to do that. And when he came down, hit the brakes to get onto pit road, Martin Truex Jr. ran into him. That kicked Jones Reddick sideways, rather. Everyone made a good save. I do think Austin Dillon may have made some contact in the background against Todd Gilliland while everybody was trying to avoid a wreck. That should have been a massive accident. They wrecked. They just didn't hit anything.
And Larson pits. They're all diving down. Larson, Chastain, Suarez, Bowman, all down. Let's go now.
5 pits, you pit, 4 seconds of fuel, and they'll be good to go. Jamie?
Same for Martin Truex Jr. Let's just get enough fuel to get us to the end of the race. No tires here for Truex. Regan.
5 of Kyle Larson been up front for a little while now. On the radio, he is very happy with the race car. Hasn't said anything other than the handling is very good.
And disaster for Martin Truex. He was stopped in his pit for a long...
bad stop, 19. Very bad stop for the 19. He's going to come out and he's going to lose the draft. Who had a penalty?
The one car of Ross Chastain for too fast in section 8. Good news is nothing about Jimmy Johnson having a penalty, so he is clear.
Here come the remaining 4 pit road, led by Joey Logano, Todd Gilliland, Ryan Preece, and Chris Buescher.
Yeah, weird that Logano's come in quite late on this one as well. I can't see Matthew at the moment. I can see him on the OBS, but I can't see him on the monitor. It's gone blue. Oh, there we go. So back in on action again. It's all going wrong tonight. I can't touch anything either because it might go wrong. Chastain down pit road as well.
Deserves that penalty.
Yeah.
So we will see as everyone blends in which group that came down pit road together will get to the front here. And of course we have to see where Jimmy Johnson is in relation to JJ Yaley. We mentioned Martin Truex Jr. had an incredibly slow stop. He has lost the draft here. So Truex, who was at the front, he's going to lose the draft after that slow stop. You cannot come out of pit road by yourself and lose the draft. When you're out of the draft, you lose about a second a lap to the rest of the pack.
So this is where battle is being done. Larson, Suarez, Elliott. Bowman. They pitted too late, in my opinion, Matthew. They've all gone out of draft. Will they continue to get back together, or is it too much now with 14 to go?
Yeah, I think they will get pulled back together for the most part. Oh boy, Jimmy Johnson just got kicked to the outside by Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick. Don't think that was a part of the Toyota plan. Have to think the Toyotas are probably working together to try to get Jimmy in the race, but that wasn't a part of the script right there. Johnson lost 4 or 5 positions on that. Carson Hocevar goes by on the outside. Corey LaJoie is going to go by Johnson. Johnson's going to fall to the end of this line. Question is, where is JJ Yaley in comparison to this draft?
Well, I think he's down in 18th, so he's right there with it as well. This was Truex's stop, just didn't get going and slow at the exit.
Yeah, he stalled the car.
Had to get pushed out as well.
He stalled. So, I mean, that cost him, what, 4 or 5 seconds, and that's why he's out of the draft.
It's all going off here in the first duel. So, back in with the action. My monitor so far stopped flashing blue, which is good. It's literally just... I know this entire box needs rejigging. Honestly, I've just rejigged it as well, but it still needs more rejigging. I need a bigger monitor. It's gone blue again, so I've got no TV pictures, so I'm useless at the moment. I'll hand over to Matthew.
Well, I was just checking, so JJ Yaley, Fox did not cover the JJ Yaley stop, which for whatever reason I do not know. but J.J. Yaley is being scored as 14 seconds behind the lead pack, so there must have been a slow stop there for the 44 team. So Yaley is not in this lead draft. So Jimmy Johnson is 17th, Yaley is 18th, but they're separated by about 15 seconds on the track. So
Put
if
it out.
stays,
Turn 4.
uh-oh,
What's happened? We're just coming into turn 4 now. Yellow is out. So what's happened? Someone down the mid-pack there. I can't see who it is. Anthony Alfredo's in the pit lane. Has he touched something? No, can't see anything at the moment happening on the monitor. This is 3 and 4. There's the yellow. And nothing on the TV pictures that we can see, Matthew.
well, when they say put it out, it just gets everyone ears perked up. There's Carson Hocevar with a daring 3-wide pass to the inside of Alex Bowman. They're almost 4 wide,
there.
and now there's contact. Up into the wall goes Daniel Hamer.
No!
And Jimmy Johnson's collected. Jimmy Johnson is spinning on the exit of turn 4. I don't know how much damage there is on the Johnson car, but Johnson has been involved in this accident that could send him out of the Daytona 500.
Unbelievable! He gets going again, and finally Fox come back from their ad break. Yellow flag is out. Jimmy Johnson getting spun round. And out goes Austin Dillon. He's stalled on the back straightaway. And the yellow out. And that's a big one. So that's Daniel Henrik out.
Let's try to talk through this because it started with the 77 of Hocevar. He got a big push from Joey Logano down the back stretch. So Hocevar to the inside of Alex Bowman. That puts Bowman in the middle with no drafting help. That slows down that middle and outside line. Corey LaJoie goes to the inside of Eric Jones. That puts him 4 wide. Daniel Hemrick has to check up. He gets run into by Stenhouse. Hemrick goes into the wall. Stenhouse then spins down the banking into Dillon, and that's who caught Johnson. Austin Dillon down into Johnson. I don't think Johnson has a lot of damage, but there will be damage to the valence, the splitter, coming back down from the banking onto the apron. So they will have to come to pit road, and they're going to have to check out any damage to the splitter or the front bumper from the transition from the 31 degrees of banking to the apron.
I was thinking, did Johnson spin into everybody else, but it was a concertina effect. So it's the 47 who we were only saying a few moments ago about Ricky Stenhouse that he likes to put the block on people, calls cautions. He's caused the caution here with 9 to go. So Johnson just got tagged into that and caused the spin later by hitting the side of Dillon. Watch, he'll hit Dillon and cause the 3 to spin onto the back, from the back into the apron, but that was all started from the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 9 to go. We're not going to have overtime, are we?
And he hit from the banking on the apron twice, so there's going to be damage to that splitter. Now, he's likely going to be restarting behind J.J. Yaley. We are going to have a 4 or 5 lap dash, not only to the win of the race, but to see who makes the 500. This is a real race now between Yaley and Johnson.
Yeah, J.J. Yaley is down in 17th position. On our timing screens, Jimmy Johnson's 15th at the moment, but I would leave him out. You can't bring him in because it runs too much risk. Because you're dropping.
Well, I would say if I'm in that 44 pit box of J.J. Yaley, we know Johnson's going to have to pit to check that splitter damage. They're going to change tires on the 84. You might as well bring Yaley down, get him on 4 fresh tires too, so you're not at a tire disadvantage, and then they'll basically be restarting right together.
This is going
to open this time.
Right, so that's going to take a while. So out goes Daniel Hemrick. Anthony Alfredo has, I think, rejoined, but 2 laps down after that penalty earlier on. So Hemrick's out of the duel. Yellow's out. And there is the reason.
There's pretty significant damage to the splitter and maybe even the left front fender on Johnson's car. That transition from the banking to the apron was pretty heavy. There is some amount of damage there. Oh my goodness. Worst case scenario for Jimmy Johnson.
So we've got the international feed open as well. Josh T, go on.
Did I just hear you spin me right round?
Yes, you
baby,
did.
right
Yeah.
round
Yeah.
on Fox.
Did.
I giggled as well.
That
and
was-
it's-
Terrific. That's really well done from Fox.
I can't wait if we have a fire, burn, baby, burn. That'll be quite good. They could have done that one back in 2012 when Montoya hit the jet engine dryer. Although with the weather forecast for Sunday and an 80 to 90% chance of rain, we could be coming back on Monday to do the Daytona 500, which would be very, very annoying because that means that we're going. I hope it starts after 6 p.m. That's all I'm saying. UK time that is, because otherwise it'll clash with the first day of testing for MotoGP. It's going to be a very busy couple of days. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'm hoping on Monday, if it does get pushed back to Monday, it's after 6 p.m.
Your time.
Eastern time. Okay, so here's Johnson on pit road. They changed tires. I'm guessing they took a look at the splitter. They weren't working on it.
They've kept
But he
Yellowly
is
out.
away from tires. They did keep Yaley out. I think that's a mistake. I think
I've
that's a
got
mistake.
the percentages for
Yaley
the
out.
weather.
Oh, go on, Justy.
It is a 95+% go for the trucks, 45% go for ARCA, 25% go for the Xfinity, 20% go for the Daytona 500 on Sunday, but on President's Day on Monday, 85 to 90% go, and it's one to go at the line.
Okay, so
And guarantee all of that will change tomorrow because the radar in the forecast right on the edge of Daytona Beach changes every 20 minutes.
I'm very much knowing that we could be in for some delays, and believe me when I say NASCAR Media have provided for us with over 9 hours of interviews and footage that we can play if we go to rain delays, and going with that as well, the Fox coverage as well and everything. So if we have to have the Daytona 500 split in two, we'll be live for all of it. So across JB Motorsports and USRN. So that's the great bit. I know we separate for these races, but we're together in the Duels, which is kind of like what we do with the Indy 500. To sort of split off at the race. I can't hear.
This is going to be a very interesting restart now as it pertains to J.J. Yaley and Jimmy Johnson. If Johnson's car is off the pace any little bit after that spin and the damage to the splitter, it's like I said earlier, the cards were stacked totally against J.J. Yaley to get into this race, but now it's a possibility after that accident Johnson was caught up in. Jimmy Johnson could fail to make the Daytona 500. Should be getting the restart this time around, so it's going to be a 6-lap dash to see who gets into the 500.
18th for Johnson, 14th for Yellowly, so that's okay. That's okay. That's easily done.
And
Johnson made up, what was it, 12?
And Alfredo a lap down. I do have to ask if he took the wave around or not to get back on the lead lap, because he could play a part of it as well if he's
Yes,
in
he
the
did.
mix for position.
Can confirm.
Yeah, I thought so, because he was 2 down, now he's only 1. So he must
Okay, well, if
yeah.
he's still 1 down, then he's not a player in it still.
Yeah.
Because he can't gain any position. So Alfredo's not in the mix here. He's going to be in the 500 no matter what. This comes down to a match race, if you can possibly believe it. Talk about David versus Goliath. It's a match race between 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson and journeyman racer J.J. Yaley from Arizona.
They've retired Ricky Stenhouse Jr., so he's going to have a really horrible starting position for the 500 on Sunday, right towards the back. So, tension there.
Can I say, if J.J. Yaley knocks Jimmy Johnson out of the Daytona 500, it is the greatest upset in NASCAR history. It is it pales in comparison to all of the other choices in that category, like Trevor Bayne or Derek Cope winning the Daytona 500. If it is J.J. Yaley that knocks out Jimmy Johnson, jaws will be on the floor as we're coming to the restart here with 6 laps to go. Kyle Larson and Daniel Suarez on the front row, green flag in the air, and we're back to racing for the last 6 laps of this first Daytona 500 qualifying race. This is going to sound weird, but the attention in these last 6 laps may not be on the win, but it may be for 15th or wherever Yaley and Johnson are running.
Is it bad that when we went green, I was looking right at the back. Johnson's already up into 16th. Yeley's down into 15th. They are side by side on the track, and Yeley is dropping back. So's Johnson. He knows he doesn't want to risk anything as they come down. Larson leads. Elliott Suarez side by side, getting pushed from the back. Hocevar and Gibbs opposite sides. They come together into turns 3 and 4. Forget again about the commentators. We know who they are on Fox. We want to see the battle for 15th and 16th position, which are currently side by side. Yeley and Johnson are still battling each other as they come through. Forget the pit reporters. There's only 5 to go in the first duel, and it's everybody side by side.
2 by 2 all the way through this
He's
field.
got him.
Kyle Larson now. Larson now does have help from a teammate behind him in Chase Elliott. Bottom side, you've got Daniel Suarez and Ty Gibbs. Carson Hocevar is in the mix to maybe win this thing too as a rookie as they race down the back straightaway with 5 laps to go. Johnson and Yaley still at the tail end of the pack. Contact in the middle of the straightaway. They keep it pointed the right direction somehow.
Elliott really got unstable, and now look at that. Gibbs as well, just touching the infield section over the line as well. He's almost losing it. Johnson's ahead of Yaley as well, but now he's dropped back.
We got a push from Chastain. Yaley's ahead of Johnson. 4 to go.
Yeah, Johnson just had nobody in front of him, and now look at this. He's side by side with Gilliland. He's going to lose the draft. This is not great news for Johnson. He's going to lose out. There's Yaley in 15th position, and now they're going to be racing each other with only about 5 miles to go.
This is unbelievable. Who would have imagined it would be a match race between J.J. Yaley and Jimmy Johnson?
They touched.
Yeah, they did touch in the tri-oval. Yaley threw a block. That's what he has to do. Yaley's going to have to get the elbows out to do this. He is outmanned by race car and skill, but he might be able to do this against one of the all-time greats of the sport. Todd Gilliland is right behind Jimmy Johnson. Todd Gilliland might be the one to decide who gets into the race and who doesn't. Larson leads at the front, 3 to go.
This is unbelievable from Suarez as well. He's getting pushed from Hocevar. Elliott's right at the back of Larson as well as they come into turns 1 and 2 once again. And look at that. Yeley's now ahead of Truex. Now Truex has repassed him. Johnson's under attack. And then side by side, Johnson's ahead of Yeley. He needs to get past that of Ross Chastain, who's there now. Johnson side by side to 3. Yeley's getting the toe, but Truex is in front of Johnson. It's all going to come down to the last 2 laps of this race as they swing back through. And now, look at that. Yeley behind Chastain, but Johnson is side by side, and Johnson's past Chastain. Now he's going to get Truex to turn through, but here they come again, and they're side by side. Yeley gets back ahead. Johnson side by side, 3 to go.
Unbelievable. They're both at the tail end of this draft, so it's going to be who's in the right line, who picks the right drafting partner. They are nose to nose, door to door in turn 1. Johnson puts a nose in front of Yaley with drafting help from Martin Truex Jr. Where does Todd Gilliland go? Who does he decide to help? Does he help Johnson? Does he help Yaley? Meanwhile, at the front, they're still 2 by 2 with only a lap and a half to go.
Suarez got the lead. He's down low. Larson's up high as well, as we see side by side. There's Gilliland towing behind Chastain, and Johnson's on the low line as well, but Suarez might just have this one as we come up. The white flag is in the air. It's 1 lap. Did Johnson not do it? Gilliland cuts across. White flag, and Johnson's on in the 500 with a 1 to go.
Yaley got a big run on the exit of the corner. He is ahead of Johnson. Johnson now falls back in the tire tracks of J.J. Yaley. They're 2 miles away from the finish. Who's going to make the Daytona 500? The drama for the win pales in comparison to the drama to see who makes the 500. Half a lap to go.
Look at Tyler Reddick.
The lead. Yaley is still ahead of Johnson. Half a lap to go. Tyler Reddick makes a move now to the inside of Kyle Larson in turn 3, looking for the lead and the win. Larson, he gets jumped out of line. Yaley might get caught out here. Johnson gets blocked by Chastain. Who's going to win the race? Who's going to make the 500? Yaley doesn't have any driving help. Tyler Reddick's going to win the race, and Jimmy Johnson's going to make the race.
Fantastic! He made up into 12th position. Yellowly got sent up high. Reddick came out of nowhere. He takes the lot of them. He moved up 6 places in one corner. Tyler Reddick wins the Duel 1 at Daytona in very fine style. But it's Jimmy Johnson with 12th place, a redemption drive. The 7-time champion does race in the 66th Daytona 500, and by the skin of his absolute teeth.
Oh my gosh, that is unbelievable.
10th and a half, Matthew, 10th and a half.
JJ Yaley was 1 mile away from making the Daytona 500, but when Kyle Larson got jarred out of line at the front, everyone else scrambled. Yaley went up, and when he went up, he didn't have any drafting help behind him.
Look at this.
And John did.
Reddick pushed the back of Larson. Larson got forced out, nearly made Larson did make contact as well with Reddick. He got sent out high, but he chopped down low, cut everybody off. That was brilliant from Tyler Reddick. He wins at Daytona, and he had a run from Chase Elliott as well towards the line. They were only separated by 56 thousandths of a second. Oof.
Ooh.
And breathe.
No kidding. We were 5 seconds away from the biggest upset in the history of NASCAR. I mentioned it earlier. That would have been the biggest upset ever if JJ Yaley had knocked Jimmy Johnson out. The drama of this night on qualifying race night for the Daytona 500 is ridiculous. Oh, by the way, Tyler Reddick has won the race. But you just couldn't imagine taking your eyes off of that Yaley and Johnson battle, and you have to feel for JJ Yaley. Oh my gosh, he was that close to creating the greatest Cinderella story ever.
That was so close. And Jimmy Johnson, the sportsman he is, goes over and gives a little high five, fist bump to JJ Yaley as well, saying, great race, great race. But yeah, had to do it. It would have been, as you said, the biggest upset in history if Jimmy Johnson wasn't in the 500 after yesterday not being able to qualify automatically. He had to race his way in, and he did it. Who are Fox going to talk to first, I wonder?
Yeah, the Jimmy Johnson, I guarantee you, feels like he won more than Tyler Reddick feels like he won.
Yes. I do not doubt that for 1 second. Now, how long? Oh, let's go down.
You finished first. How good does it feel to go into the weekend with this win in the duel?
Yeah, it's a great way to start off the weekend. Man, this thing is a beast, and it's a great way to kick off the brand new product that SUB's got. So go out and get some hard tea, have a good time tonight. I know we are.
Tyler Reddick wins duel number 1.
And Jimmy Johnson, he was nervous coming in, never been in this situation before. Jimmy, it almost looked like you were out of it, and then you weren't. Can you put this race into perspective for us?
I can. I've never been in a position like this before, and I have such a greater appreciation for everyone before me that's tried to race their way in. And although there's only 6 more cars, I know at one time there were many more, but it's very stressful. Very thankful that we got this Carvana Toyota in the race. I knew the first half of the race was going too easy. I knew there'd be a challenge thrown at us, and we got it just in time. So hats off to JJ Yaley, put up a heck of a fight, had a very competitive car, and we were just in the right spot at the right time when the checker fell.
Congratulations, Jimmy Johnson, Daytona 500 for the 21st time in his career, Mike.
Thanks, Jim.
Fantastic. Matthew?
I just... We might not see a more dramatic 5 laps the rest of the season than that. It's unbelievable what we had just witnessed. Again, you feel awful for JJ Yaley. Again, he was not in it before the last caution. The last caution brings him into it. And again, we were 5 seconds away. They all scrambled when Larson got jarred out of line. He moved up, and no one went with him. He had no drafting help to stay in front of Jimmy Johnson. I am stunned. Honestly, when you just look side by side at the careers of JJ Yaley and Jimmy Johnson, Who could have ever thought that it would come down to those two and be that close between those two to make the Daytona 500? Unbelievable.
Need about 1,000,000 years to recover from those 60 laps, and we've got 200 coming up on Sunday, and that's not even the first race. That's only race 1. We've got another 60 laps coming up in race 2. Now, talk us through it, Matthew. What's the procedure now? How long are we going to be waiting around to get ready for the second one?
It should be about 5 minutes, and that's it. Unfortunately, I have a feeling it's going to be more like 20 or 30.
Oof.
But we shall see. But holy cow. Again, I just want to make this a point, just to say this again. I love, love, love the idea and the fact that we are joining together at the hip to do this entire season, especially on your end, Josh, on JB Motorsports, because you bring in so many viewers and listeners from Formula One and IndyCar and British touring cars and Formula E and all the different racing series you do. And I love the fact that we are expanding the NASCAR fan base internationally. There's a lot going into NASCAR right now about expanding the sport and bringing in new fans from around the United States that aren't already fans. But I want to expand the footprint of the fan base internationally. NASCAR has been the most famous racing car series in the United States for decades now. Now I want to take that internationally, and I hope that everybody that's new to NASCAR, wherever you're listening from, whether it's in the States or outside, wherever you just listened to that finish from, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. That's what NASCAR is, week in and week out, and we'd love to have you aboard every single week, because that's as exciting as it gets right there. And that, again, to use a Larry McReynolds line, that was just to get into the Daytona 500. Can you imagine how dramatic it's going to be when the 500 comes on Sunday?
And the thing is, it really is every single week. There's 36 races to cover. It's our one constant.
36 races over the next 37 weeks, or 38 weeks, I guess it is, so get ready.
Still only takes us to early November, so don't worry, everyone. There's a long way to go in the year. Tyler Reddick's son running to him on the start-finish stretch. Duel 1 winner, Tyler Reddick. Not bad. Right, 5 minutes, you say. Shall we take a breather?
That's how long it should take. By the way, I just want to put this into perspective. I'm trying to put this into perspective the best way I can. That would have been like, truly, I don't think I'm over-exaggerating this. If I am over-exaggerating this, someone please stop me. But that would have been like in the Formula One world. We ran qualifying races to get into the Monaco Grand Prix, or to any big race you want to mention. And let's turn back the hands of time to 1998. That truly would have been like Michael Schumacher being pushed right to the very end of the last lap by Pedro Diniz to make it into the race, or Ricardo Rosset, or somebody like that. That's what we just seen. But we never get that in Formula One, do we? We don't get that in many other racing series. But it is what happens on this night trying to make it into the Daytona 500.
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
Who else could you throw in there? An Esteban Tuero nearly knocking out a Michael Schumacher?
I thought you were being quite harsh to JJ Yellowy there when you said about Ricardo Rosset. I was like, he's not that bad. Rosset was well, how do I say this quite nicely with that? Well, lacking in brain cells, I think, is Ricardo Rosset as well. And there's a wonderful video by Josh Revel, I think, who's done it. Another Josh, by the way, on YouTube. WTF happened to Ricardo Rosset. And it's absolutely fantastic. He's done a series on them, and they are brilliant. So I highly recommend going and taking a watch of that after this broadcast. Duel 2 should be up soon. And I asked the man who's got the officials.
Command.
Yeah, go on.
is in around 9 minutes.
So it is about 20 minutes. Jamie Little, though, has got some help.
What were those moments like racing against Jimmy Johnson for that last spot?
I mean, obviously it was exciting. I was worried when they dropped the green that we were going to have a hard time keeping up with the draft. Hendrick put this car together. It drove fantastic, had a lot of speed in the draft. And, like I said, we're just riding, taking my time. I had to be on the outside. The inside, it killed my momentum. Then obviously what happened in the 84, got a caution, got a break. The car just didn't have good acceleration and restarts. But, side by side coming to, 2-3 to go, thought we were in really good shape. Going into turn 3, I mean, I'm not counting my chickens, but I was getting close, and then saw there was some contact. Someone in the middle lost a lot of momentum, and I just made a split-second decision to go to the outside, try to carry the momentum, clear him, at least make the racetrack too wide to where he couldn't pass. And he stayed in the middle. The 19 pushed him. The momentum just carried him all the way to the checker flag, and it sucks. And, 2 years ago we were close and just couldn't get it.
That frightened me there.
Oh. You feel for him. He never had a shot. No one was giving him a shot, and he was a mile away. About a mile, 3/4 of a mile away from doing this. Wow.
I think if they'd pitted him for tyres, would it have worked? Bit of fresh rubber. I don't know. There were only 7 laps old, of course, when we went green. So it's the big if, isn't it? Is that yellow had happened before the green? If that yellow had happened before the pit stops, that would have changed everything.
Yeah, you're right.
Certainly would have changed things as well for. They've gone off my timing screen now as well, which is great. But
6 minutes.
6 minutes to go until we get the green. That's going to be at 33 minutes past the hour.
That's a little quicker than I was fearing that it might take.
Well, that means it's going to be an hour, so probably around about 3 a.m. is when we'll finish here. Which UK time?
Guessing they're going for a 40 minutes past green flag.
That sounds more likely, doesn't it?
Because 33 commands, it takes them a couple of minutes to get rolling, then 5 minutes
circulating
on the pace car. Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, this is going to be long. I honestly don't know what to say to NASCAR to try and speed these up. I mean, is it so bad to? I know why they've put them in 2, because you can't run all of them out there and basically have a Daytona 500 Part 1, a sprint. You can't have that. So you have the duels and split them up. But you do get the feeling that, well, if we just did it all for like 100 laps, we'd be done by now, sort of thing.
We're just very happy they started at 7 tonight rather than 8 like last night.
Oh yeah, because what was it? 4 a.m. I went. Do you know, I was right, by the way, Matthew. When I said to you on air yesterday, it'll be about 4 a.m. until I got into bed. 4 a.m. and did not get much sleep. So yeah, it's gonna be one of those weeks. I think NASCAR's gonna completely destroy my sleep schedule this year. And then again, it sort of goes back to normal, and then we get the wonderful trio of Australia going then as well to Shanghai, then over to Japan, then back to Shanghai and back to Japan, across Formula 1 and Formula E. So whoever decided that, thank you. Oh, let's have some interviews.
More did you need there at the end to come home with the win?
I actually thought our Napa Chevy was pretty good. I mean, all things considered, we're locked in from qualifying setup-wise and stuff. So I thought our car drove pretty good, considering everything that you try to do to go fast for a lap. So I was pleased. I thought we had a good night of execution, put ourselves in a good position there, and came up a little short. But I thought overall it was a solid effort, and kept the car in one piece, which is a big deal, I feel like, for Sunday. So looking forward to it.
Thanks, Chase. Good luck.
Chase Elliott finishing second, teammate.
Well, yeah. They're just going to go constantly to ad breaks, aren't they, as well?
Guys.
Yeah.
With 2 minutes ago, it was 5 minutes to go. and the 14 of Chase Briscoe was not at his car at the 5-minute mark.
Let me tell you, this is going to sound crazy. I'm pretty sure they're doing the anthem and the Start Your Engines again.
No.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I know they've definitely got the command again. I don't know about the anthem. They haven't said anything about that on the officials radio.
This is why we have Josh T, by the way, everyone. Just listening in. I'll tell you what, Matthew, you need a pit reporter.
No one's better at dragging things out than NASCAR.
Yeah, I'm learning
Let
that.
me tell you.
I'm learning that.
Yeah, you'll really love it when you're doing a random race that has had a whole bunch of yellow, maybe a rain delay or so, and you're deep into the night, a 4-hour race, and it's going to overtime, and then they can't get the track clean to start overtime, and they keep waving off the restart. You'll love that.
I'm not looking forward to that bit. Although, I'll tell you what, when was it? Two seasons ago? It wasn't last season, so it must have been the season before. That must have been 2022 then. Nashville. It was Nashville. And, it was a Monday night race anyway. Yeah, it was Monday because it got rained off the day before. So you couldn't do it, Matthew. You were working. So I said, you were going to say, no, we won't do it. And I said, no, I'll do it. Well, we've got to do it. I'll take over. I'll help you. So it was me and Joe Samiego on the call, and we had a delayed start, but everything went well. We got about 200 laps in, and end of stage. I think we're towards the end of stage 2, something like that. Start of stage 3, and we were before the 150 mark. I think actually when the race could be made official, so they had to wait around. I'm remembering more clearly now. And I walked into the commentary box at 9 p.m. I didn't leave the commentary box until 5 a.m. And we were in rain delay for so long. It was just so long. This was in the days before I had the DD12 streams. I was using different things. I had to search for the USA Network channel in the UK in order to finish the race.
Oh, jeez.
Don't have that problem anymore.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, more. Bubba.
Then duel number 2 here in just a moment. But quite an active foul by your teammate right there. It seemed like it came from nowhere tonight.
Yeah, that was good. Great job to the 45 crew. I wasn't stressed at all, but everybody was counting out the Toyotas after qualifying. Doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish. So Tyler capitalized on that, so congrats to them. But Jimmy Jam getting in, how about that? Jimmy and a Toyota. I love it. So shaping up to be a good night. We'll see what our McDonald's Toyota Camry can do. Got a lot to learn with the new body, but should be another stroll in the park.
Adds that confidence, seeing how good the Toyotas were in that first duel. They came to the front quick.
Yeah, for sure. We try to come up with a game plan. This is a what-if race. These speedway races are what-ifs, right? So it's always changing on the fly. But, yeah, we just got to lock in here. Got a few fast Toyotas in our group, so we'll be fine.
Wallace getting ready for duel number 2 in a minute.
Yeah. I think that Toyota's going to hit the front fast, isn't it? But it is Bubba Wallace at the wheel, so I don't think he'll stay there that long without causing some sort of accident. Oh, you are right.
Are you ready to get duel number 2 started? Here to give the command to fire engines from Bluegreen Vacations, please welcome Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Nancy Sampson and Leslie Jewell.
Drivers, start your engines!
At least we didn't get the anthem. The second duel at Daytona is coming up, and the cars will be leaving in a few moments' time.
Interesting comments there from Darrell Wallace Jr. Everyone counted out the Toyotas after last night. I don't think that's entirely true.
We were worried about their pace.
I mean, we were worried about their pace by themselves, but I think we all knew they were going to draft well and race well, as they do all the time. I don't know if everyone was counting the Toyotas out. We talked about that last night. Historically, they don't qualify well on these super speedways, but they do race well. But anyway, get through all of that. You got a lot of Toyotas in the field for this second race. We'll give you the starting grid here in just a moment. But you have a handful at least with Wallace and Hamlin. Christopher Bell is in here too. Who else is in a Toyota? There's one more. John Hunter Nemechek is the other Toyota in this field. So, let's go ahead and tell you, and we will remind you of this as we go on. This next qualifying race, we just had the dramatic finish between Yaley and Johnson to try to get into the 500. In this race, it is now B.J. McLeod versus Kaz Grala. David Reagan is the open car in this race that qualified his way into the 500 last night. So Reagan is in no matter what. McLeod and Grala, the highest finisher of those two, will get in if they are the highest finishing driver of the open cars. If David Reagan finishes the highest of the open cars, then McLeod gets the final spot in the 500 based on his qualifying speed last night. So just like J.J. Yaley in the first race, Kaz Grala's only way to make the 500 is to beat both Reagan and McLeod. McLeod needs to just beat Grala. He does not really have to worry about David Reagan.
It's going to be a lot of action to come into it, isn't it, as well as we get ready to come in for the green. The cars are out on the track, getting all set to go. I'm just getting up Bob's Twitter as well to see if there's anything latest from him to give us any information, because the raw feed has gone down for me up in the comms box. Don't know if it has for anybody else or not.
I've got something for you.
Oh, go on, Justy.
It's I posted it in comms chat earlier. If we the Hendricks Motorsports cars have got a new look for Martinsville, I do believe, due to their 40-year Ruby anniversary. Basically, all 4 of the cars have gone Ruby colour.
Well, and they're doing that at Martinsville, of course, because that was the site of Hendrick Motorsports' first win as a team back in 1984 with what was then called All-Star Racing. Before it was called Hendrick Motorsports, Jeffrey Bodine won the race.
Jamie Little's down the pits.
Organization, we're like, okay, that was a little worse than we were thinking. But now that you've seen one dual race, what's your impression of what you guys have with this model, with the speed and handling?
Yeah, I mean, nothing alarming to me that makes me think that it's not capable of going out and winning on Sunday, right? So it's probably about what we expected when we watched the race and saw that they race well in the pack. I think the pack is always going to be a big equalizer to, drag and single car speed. So looking forward to getting this FedEx Toyota on the track today and see what we got. I don't know. We're starting a little deep, but things will get moved around enough. Some air will get disturbed enough. We'll make some moves.
Denny, have fun out there. Mike?
Interesting enough that everything's gone funny. Yeah. Anyway, the grids, and I'll hand over to Matthew.
And the starting grid for this second Daytona 500 qualifying race looks like this. Michael McDowell on Valentine's Day put the Love's Travel Stops Ford on the front row for the Daytona 500. So he's on the front row for this race alongside the former Daytona 500 winner, Austin Cindric. In fact, 2 former winners of the 500 on the front row. Row 2, William Byron, who's won one of these qualifying races before. He's with Kyle Busch, who's a 3-time winner of the qualifying races. Harrison Burton for the Wood Brothers starts from 5th alongside Riley Herbst in a Rick Ware Racing entry. Row 4 is Chase Briscoe and Noah Gregson, teammates at Stewart-Haas Racing. Row 5, defending Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney from High Point, North Carolina, starting 9th alongside A.J. Allmendinger, now running a part-time schedule with Colleague Racing. Row 6, Josh Berry for Stewart-Haas Racing, now in the 4-car vacated by Kevin Harvick, alongside Brad Keselowski. Row 7, David Reagan, already into the Daytona 500 based on speed from qualifying last night. He's alongside the McDonald's Toyota of Darrell Wallace Jr. Row 8, Justin Haley, with good sponsorship on the side of that Rick Ware Racing car, his first real start with RWR. He is with Christopher Bell from Norman, Oklahoma. Row 9, Denny Hamlin from Chesterfield, Virginia, and Zane Smith, the rookie, in the WeatherTech Chevrolet. Row 10, John Hunter Nemechek for Legacy Motor Club alongside BJ McLeod. And the 21st and final starter, because he did not turn in a qualifying lap last night, is Kaz Grala in the third entry for Front Row Motorsports. That's the 21-car starting field, made up of 12 Fords, 5 Chevrolets, and 4 Toyotas.
And a partridge.
And just again, sorry about that, Josh.
Sorry.
Just to remind you, the battle to make it into the 500 is between the 20th and 21st place starters in this race, BJ McLeod and Kaz Grala.
Sorry about that. I thought you'd finished talking, so I just went in there. But this is going to be very exciting. Everyone, I think, is getting ready for this second. You said that the first is usually quite calm. The second's busy. Anyway, Jamie Little's in the pit lane.
Fidowa, he's very well known with Kevin Harvick. He was his spotter for a long time, so he is his eyes on the roof. And I talked to Tim just moments ago, and he said, hey, we've done some video together, we've listened to each other, but there's nothing like being in a race and listening to one another and learning what we need. So they've got a lot going on between each other, all while trying to win this race. Mike?
So, we're getting ready. Any sign of the one to go?
Yeah. The second pace car has pulled back. Groups closing up. First pace car picking up speed. Cars single file. And they'll go down pit lane and one to go.
So, Michael McDowell, he'll have to choose which one he wants to go. Austin Cindric alongside this. William Byron, Kyle Busch, Harrison Burton. It's the big ones coming in this one as well. I keep an eye on Josh Berry in the Sunny D car. It's going to be pretty hard to miss. I think that one, Matthew, coming down the banking sections here tonight.
Yeah, bright and orange for the number 4. And, you know, again, I know we had the Clash. The Clash is so different. It's a quarter-mile racetrack. It's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of racing. This is really the first real starts for a lot of these drivers with their new teams. I'm thinking of Josh Berry, I'm thinking of Justin Haley, or with new spotters. You heard that report from Jamie Little, Ryan Blaney.
Restart aborted, one to go at the line.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very good. Ryan Blaney with a new spotter and Tim Fidowa. So this is the first real start for these new driver team combinations.
I wonder if they've aborted that start because there's something blowing across pit lane. Saw something like a plastic tubing that had blown in when the cars came back down. May I call the start of this one?
Oh, absolutely. I was gonna hand it off to you.
Oh, thank you. So
yes, you're taking the main lead on this second race, my friend. We're gonna see what you've learned.
Throw me right in, ready for Daytona then. This is going to be nerve-wracking. Okay, here we go. Fingers crossed this is good. 60 laps ahead of us then for the second duel here at Daytona. Now, are they going to abort this start as well? Pace car, I think, is still ahead with its lights on down the back straight coming into 3 and 4, so we're not going to go green just yet. As we take a look up at the commentary box, Mike Joy, Kevin Harmon, Clint Boyer up there. Everyone all set to go. I have noticed, however, they've changed headsets this year. Just a nitpick, but they've gone back one, so that's a bit weird.
I wonder how Kevin's doing tonight. Have to check on Twitter to see how everyone's liking Kevin. Now full-time in the booth with a former teammate on the track in Clint Boyer. Mike Joy, by the way. Okay, very good one to go. Mike Joy. Since we have still another pace lap to make, it'll take a couple minutes. Can we just talk about the legend that is Mike Joy? He will be covering, God knows what Daytona 500 this is for him. I think it might be his 44th Daytona 500 that he's covering. I may even be shortchanging him a little bit. He is just an absolute legend, whether it's been in the pits or in the booth. Mike Joy's been a part of the Daytona 500 for over 40 years now, or on radio. Don't forget on radio. He was on he was actually, he did the call at the top of turns 1 and 2 on radio on that famous 1979 Daytona 500, the one with Yarborough and Allison fighting after the last lap crash and Richard Petty winning it.
Oh, what a legendary race that was as well. I still remember when he did the interview with Darrell Waltrip when he won it and said, "I won the Daytona 500, I won it." That was fantastic, watching that one back.
1977.
What a race. Here we go. Don't do that to me now. It's not at the start.
By the way, here stateside in college basketball world, there is a game between Long Island University and Fairleigh Dickinson. The game has been forced into a delay because the players from the Fairleigh Dickinson team are stuck in an elevator trying to get to the locker room. Now, let me tell you, I have fears in life. I fear snakes. I fear airplanes.
Yeah.
And I absolutely fear getting stuck in an elevator. Let me tell you.
Happened to me once.
If I ever get stuck in an elevator, the people with me better pray to heaven that I just pass out.
I'm with you. Go on.
To answer your question, this is Mike Joy's 46th Daytona 500.
Oh. Go on then, predict me a winner, Matthew. Who's going to take this one?
I think, after seeing what we've seen from the Fords in that first race dropping back, and from what we've seen from the Toyotas, I think a Toyota is going to win it, and the most aggressive super speedway racer, or one of the most aggressive super speedway racers we have, is Denny Hamlin. He's starting at the back. He's going to have to be passing a lot of cars to see how his car runs in a pack, in a draft. I think Denny Hamlin's going to come from 17th on the grid to win this thing, and I think he's going to do it because he's going to draft a lot with the car that he owns, Darrell Wallace Jr. Now, big question, who makes the race? 78 B.J. McLeod or 36 Kaz Grala? We will find out. We will keep you updated as the race goes on. As the field has come off of turn number 4, Toyota Camry pace car will hit pit road, and I will hand it over to Joshua Birch for the start of the second Daytona 500 qualifying race.
Michael McDowell has already put the smile on the face of everybody by qualifying in second. He's on the high line. Cindric takes down low. It's all eyes up as the green flag falls, and the second duel of Daytona is underway as we head down towards turn number 1. Immediately, Michael McDowell cuts off that inside line. Austin Cindric takes up into second position. Will Byron coming up there too. Kyle Busch dropping back in number 8 car. And down, Austin Cindric into about, I think, 4th position. I've got to get that one right as they come through 1 and 2. Clean run as they fly past us onto the backstretch. 3 wide as well. Further back, Denny Hamlin already making up a couple of positions as well, Matthew. It's a clean start, but look at Cindric back up into P2, pushing Michael McDowell.
And Keselowski got totally drop-kicked on the start. He had no drafting help, and he has plummeted. He started, where did he start? He started 12th, and he's already down to 21st and last, coming to the end of lap 1, which is going to be led by Arizona's Michael McDowell, the winner of the Daytona 500 from 2021.
On to lap 2 then as well, as we see Burton is down into 6th position to start 5th. AJ Allmendinger is in 9th position as well. It's pretty much single file so far for the first 8 cars as they come through 1 and 2. Once again, further back, Chase Briscoe having a few little bit of a moments through turns 1 and 2. And it's pretty much nicely formatted. They're not having a bigger accident prone as I thought they might be on the opening start. In fact, they've gone single file pretty much. They don't want to risk going too wide just yet.
Yeah, and again, I think these guys sat either on top of their hauler or in the hauler and watching on TV. They watched that first race, and they saw a pretty calm race for the most part. Have to wonder how much these guys will take from what they've seen in the first race and apply it to the second race, especially the Fords, because again, the Fords, for the most part in that first race, dropped to the back. They were not contending up front. So far, they've stayed there, but we're only 2 laps in. What is that? That's 7 of the top 10 currently are Fords.
Josh T has put a correction in. It's Mike Joy's 45th. 7 for MRN, 17 for CBS, and now 20 For Fox, this year's his 21st as well. Michael McDowell leads on lap 3 of 60 here, the second Duel of Daytona. Moving up into 5th position goes Burton. Briscoe's up to 7th place already. Reagan ahead of McLeod, and Grala down in 20th position as well as we start lap 4. And now, side by side with Burton and Hesbin as well down in 5th and 6th position. Briscoe again with Noah Gregson, and Berry ahead of Bell. Josh Berry starts 11th. He's now down to 12th, but he's just alongside Bubba Wallace.
Top 4 single file. The first side-by-side racing begins at 5th with Harrison Burton alongside Riley Herbst. Are we going to hear from Larry?
Front Row Motorsports signed an extension with Ford, but they also have an alliance with Team Penske, so they truly are like another Team Penske car.
So that was a welcome to the family moment.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Come on in.
Yeah, welcome to the big boy table.
So that's what that little maneuver was. I sort of noticed a couple of laps ago as well. And Michael McDowell looking a bit under pressure here because here comes Austin Cindric. He's got in the tow. Going up now, we're going to go 2, maybe even 3 wide as Briscoe tries to make it down towards turn 2. Cindric's going to go side by side with Byron, and McDowell takes the high line. Now we go 2 wide.
Yeah, William Byron pulled out, got a big run on the outside. McDowell goes up to block. It leaves the bottom open for Austin Cindric, and now Byron is going to push the daylights out of Michael McDowell down this back straightaway. McDowell drops to the inside. Byron stays outside. This is the challenge for the lead as they go into the east banking of turns 3 and 4.
And again, Cindric had to lift off, otherwise McDowell would have taken him out. McDowell's chosen now to take the low line. He'll eat up the tyres a little bit more, but they've all got fuel to make it at least 40 laps. Judging on what we saw in the first duel, McDowell can either pick high or low, but Cindric's coming through up as well. Byron's retaken it. They're still side by side as they come through into turns 1 and 2 after the trial section. On board with Byron's telemetry at the top, he's at 190 miles per hour. As soon as he hits the 31 degrees of banking through 1 and 2, it drops 3 miles an hour only, and he's leading the first train, and now side by side with Michael McDowell and takes the lead, but McDowell gets a big push from Cindric coming back. He gets a big push as well from the 21 of Burton.
Fords lined up at the bottom. McDowell, Cindric, Burton, Briscoe, Blaney, and Berry. 6 Fords lined up nose to tail on that bottom line. In fact, make it 7 because David Reagan is there as well. So it's a Ford line on the inside. 2 Chevrolets topside with Byron and Kyle Busch. McDowell across the line leading by half a car length on Byron.
Byron almost hit the side of Cindric as well coming out of turn 3. It was almost a bit of a contact between them, and coming out of 4, proper a chop across the board. Byron's taken the lead through the first 2 corners here. Michael McDowell still side by side. Bubba Wallace were highlighting in 11th position because we're on board with Christopher Bell in the Sunny D. Well, there is actually across from him. Is Josh Berry in the Sunny D car that I was on about earlier on. That's what we're looking at number 4. He's taken the low line, so they've actually swapped sides to what they were 2 minutes ago. And coming up on the inside, that's Reagan in the 60, who's already now 14th and currently leading that race in.
Meanwhile, Byron has put his nose in front of McDowell as they scream across the line. So William Byron to the lead. He's a former winner of this qualifying race. He also won a 400-mile race here at Daytona back in 2020. That was his first career win in the Cup Series. So Byron to the front. So we didn't talk a lot about the Hendrick guys in that first race. Remember, 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars were in the first race. Chase Elliott nearly won it, but Byron's a lone soldier here for the Hendrick brigade. No other teammates for him in this race. He's going to have to do it by himself, and right now he is.
Yeah, that Chevy's looking quite good. It's got more power than what we saw the Chevys did in the first race. Bubba Wallace now breezing through, takes over 9th position. See the Mahindra Tractors number 14 coming through on the inside line as well. Taking over with Chase Briscoe down low. And he's already up into 9th, and he's looking good actually. He lifted. Bubba Wallace lifted coming to the trial section there. Sorry, turn 1 and 2. Just a little lift as he comes back on the power, but now look at this. Top 3 broken away.
Yeah, and the cars that are in the middle of this draft, like Wallace, he does not have to run full throttle because when you're in the middle of this pack, you get pulled and pushed along. So when you're in the middle of this pack, you can run about half or 60% throttle. You won't lose ground, and then of course that in turn saves you fuel. So if you're like a Wallace or Burton or someone in the middle of that pack, you don't have to go full throttle. You won't lose the draft, and you save fuel. As how about this on the outside? An assault for the lead is now put on by Riley Herbst, young driver that's only made 4 career starts in the NASCAR Cup Series. They were all on super speedways last year. He scored a top 10 in the Daytona 500 a year ago, and then again in the fall race at Talladega. He's going for the lead here with drafting help from Eric. First time I did it. It's not Eric Almirola in the 10 anymore. It's Noah Gragson.
Yeah, I nearly did it as well, looking at the same monitors as you, as Fox have gone to an ad break, so we've gone to the international feed that Josh T's providing us here in the Discord call. It's still too wide further back. Looking back as well, Noah Gragson just now taking the lower line. Kyle Busch is feeling a little bit racy. There was Bubba Wallace as well. He's made his way up to 8th place now, so he's keeping his nose clean out there as well. As he talked to Jamie Little before the race started, the Toyotas have good race pace, and they were up close and personal early on. 9 laps down. We're on to lap 10 now, about to start actually. Lap 11 of this one. Side by side again, bump drafting. Who just got pushed out there further back? I can't quite tell who we're on board with on this angle. If that's the 42, then that was going to be Denny Hamlin actually, Matthew, who's dropped back into 16th position.
Yeah, Hamlin has not gotten to the front the way I thought he might. Still working on it back there. By the way, David Reagan runs 16th. B.J. McLeod runs 13th. Kaz Grala 20th. So if the way it is right now, B.J. McLeod would race his way in to the Daytona 500.
So we had a little glitch, but it's all working now as they come into it as well. Side by side at the front. Will Byron taking the low line, but Herbst's just doing absolutely brilliantly here at the moment, and the 15 is going to try and just keep up that push, but he's going to get it from Noah Gragson as well. So there's a proper physical fight starting to happen as Byron gets a big shove from the back of Kyle Busch, and Busch actually dropping back a little bit coming into the triangle, but it is Will Byron who has the lead, and he's trying to choose high or low there, Matthew. He made a little bit of a mistake, and that's going to allow Herbst to go right round the outside into 1 and 2.
Riley Herbst, he's got some horses on that top side lined up behind him like Eric Almirola. Golly day, that's the second time I've done that now. Noah Gragson in the 10 car. A.J. Allmendinger back there too. So that outside line has gotten themselves organized. And oh, here we go. They got a good run down the back straightaway. And Herbst pushed along in the draft by Gragson. Riley Herbst from Las Vegas goes to the lead at Daytona.
Fantastic. What a race this is turning out to be as well. So nobody's expecting this running to be happening, and we're getting a really good run. Now, remember yesterday, Kaz Grala didn't get a qualifying lap in. He had to start at the back. He is running in 18th position so far, but not good enough so far. You're back with us at the Duels of Daytona.
I was just trying to look down there. It looked like William Byron got hit.
Yes.
A little poorly going into the corner by Kyle Busch. Sorry. And that has allowed that outside line to pull ahead with Herbst and Gragson and maybe even Allmendinger. Allmendinger jumps from top to bottom. Allmendinger's going to go for the lead.
And Bubba Wallace now catapulted into an unlikely position with running 3rd at the top line. That's 5th overall. He didn't expect that. Sort of went, oh, okay, and now time to hit push. Now he's going to a Constantino effect as well. As we're seeing Gragson having to lift off just a little bit as well. Byron's going to take it side by side in 2nd position. But now we're seeing Herbst and Allmendinger. Allmendinger taking the lead of the race as they come into turn 1 and 2. So they are so close together, and they are bump drafting each other. One small mistake, as you mentioned the first race there, the Chevys and the Fords not exactly designed to run perfectly together when they're bump drafting.
Yeah, you're right about that. You have to be so careful when you apply the front bumper to the back bumper of a car where those bumpers do not align. Meanwhile, at the back of this field, 2 teammates. And let's hear from Josh Sims about it.
His teammate, David Reagan, right in front of him. It's all part of the plan for RFK.
And that makes total sense for them. Keselowski got kicked out of the draft on the very first lap, so you might as well get to the back, collect your breath, and then start again. And again, David Reagan, he's into the 500 no matter what happens. He time trialed his way in last night, so we'll see what they want to do with Reagan. Do they get him up there to see how the car races, or do they just want to play it safe and not have to worry about possibly going to a backup car if he gets caught up in a wreck? Meanwhile, the fight at the front is a good one between two unexpected leaders here in A.J. Allmendinger and Riley Herbst.
I'd pretty much written Allmendinger off after yesterday's qualifying performance. I expected much better. It didn't come, so I'm quite surprised that he's leading the second duel here tonight at Daytona. Now he's going to have an advantage across the line as Byron is going to go with Herbst as well across it for second position. Gregson just leaning back a little bit. Kyle Busch taking the low line. Michael McDowell, who started this race on pole, he's already locked in, of course, for second in the Daytona 500. He's taking it easy at the moment, and he is running in seventh position, just trying to stay out of trouble. In fact, now he's gone down to the low line alongside Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, Wallace slowly but surely making his way to the front. I think I expected a little bit of a quicker gravitational pull to the front from Wallace and Hamlin. They haven't gone up as quickly as I thought they might, but they're slowly but surely getting there. Hamlin 15th, kind of trapped in line back there with nowhere to go, and Wallace up in 6th. Again, not a ton of Toyotas in this field to try to work with. This is very much a Ford-dominated race. There's 21 cars, 12 of them are Fords.
On board with Josh Berry, 33 years old as well. Bench finish was second last year. And he's running in, well, actually on board with Hamlin, looking ahead there as well. The Fox graphics are still going to get some time to get used to as well, because we're running on board. I was like, okay, oh, it's only Hamlin. Surprise!
Yeah, they do that quite a bit. They ride on board with somebody, but then put the graphic on somebody else that's running near the other guy. It is weird. Herbst just dropped down to the bottom from the top along with Gregson. So now they want to go to the bottom. That leaves the inside line to be led by Darrell Wallace Jr. and Christopher Bell. So Herbst, we talked last year on USRN how good he was all throughout that Talladega race, and he was very calculated. Did not race like an inexperienced rookie in that race, and here he is leading this group, but he's got Wallace now pushing him topside and a fellow Ford and Noah Gregson on the bottom, but Wallace really good at pushing in the draft. That's what he's doing to Herbst here, and Herbst heads to turn 3 with the lead.
Bell's alongside on the high line with Noah Gregson down low, and Bubba's going to try and come down low as we come through to take the lead. You can tell he wants that inside line. He's running lower than Herbst as well. And now look at that big open door. And Bubba's going to push him through. Is he going to want to attempt to cross the line? No. On to lap 20 of 60 here at the second duel of Daytona. And now, look at that. Bubba's going to try. In fact, Herbst's been pushed up into a high line. We might go 3 wide. Bubba tried to go down low. That's going to put them both out of sync. And here comes Noah Gregson down low to take the lead. Here at Daytona, he's going to run in high. Bubba's almost in the wall. Herbst is putting them everywhere on the track. Now Gregson's got lost pace as well. Bubba stayed in for second position. Gregson's down into third. And now this is getting a bit dangerous, Matthew, because they're moving everywhere across the track, disrupting the airflow for everyone. And Bubba's lost out on second.
Sure if that was Wallace trying to get around Herbst or if Herbst just lost control of the car for a bit. But that was nerve-wracking all the way through turns 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. My thought would be Wallace and Bell, 2 Toyotas, they would like to work together to get around Herbst here, but there's nowhere to go at the moment.
No, not now, Fox. Wrong time. God, it's every 5 minutes. It's the wrong time because according to the timing monitor, Bubba Wallace has taken the lead. According to the monitor, Bubba Wallace has taken the lead of the race. Now, is that part of bump drafting? I can't quite tell. I think he's got the lead. Yeah, he's gone right round the outside. Bubba Wallace takes the lead. We're going to go 3 wide here at Daytona. It's a not careful. Whoa! Big slide from Riley Herbst as well. He's almost going to the back of Christopher Bell, who's now jumped up.
Yeah, I don't like how unstable that 15 cars look the last couple of laps now. Gregson gave him a big push on the exit of 4. Herbst made a great save. Gregson did too. By the way, how about the 3rd, 4th, and 5th cars on that outside line? Zane Smith, B.J. McLeod, and Justin Haley moving to the front. Smith, a rookie, former Truck Series champion. You've got McLeod, who's just trying to make the Daytona 500. And then behind him, you've got Justin Haley, who moved over in the offseason from Colleague to Rick Ware Racing. Those are 3 underdog drivers and teams running right towards the front here as Wallace gets pushed to the lead, heading back to the line by Christopher Bell. And now those 2 Toyotas have done what I think they've been wanting to do the last 5 or 6 laps and work themselves around Riley Herbst. So 2 Toyotas now at the front.
Exactly what we wanted to see, exactly what we wanted, to have Toyota have a better race pace with their brand new car that everyone's been so cautious about. It wasn't that quick in qualifying, but it is starting to show its race pace. What's it going to be like after 200 laps and 500 miles on Sunday for the Great American Race? We'll find out. And first, you must qualify, and that's exactly what these races are, to give us our final running order for the Daytona 500 qualifying. And I'm just having a look. Brad Keselowski still in 18th position. Hasn't made up any places since he got pushed out early on at the start. Bubba Wallace, though, holding off Christopher Bell now in 2nd position. Meanwhile, it's going to be Zane Smith battling with Riley Herbst as well. Noah Gragson down into 6th position.
Yeah, and I think that's according to plan with Keselowski. I think eventually he will look to move up. But I think he's just fine kind of riding at the tail end of the pack here through the first half or 3/4 of the race. I think Denny Hamlin's a lot of the same. Now, I thought Hamlin would move up quickly. He hasn't. He's back there along with Keselowski. I think they're just going to wait until it's time, until pit stop time to make their move towards the front. There's Hamlin. Ryan Blaney's there with them. I think they're just biding their time until they get to pit road, then they'll make their move.
I'll tell you this right now, if this type of coverage happened in the UK, there would be outrage that during the middle of a race, they've gone to ad breaks. I can't wait for the international feed to come back in over the Sunday period. Fingers crossed. If not, Josh T, you're going to be called upon. Now, Bubba Wallace leads it.
That's going on right now, by the way. The new TV media rights deal with NASCAR that goes into effect next year. Amazon is going to carry 5 races, and that's what everybody's asking is, since we already have to pay for Amazon, will there be no commercials? We don't know that yet.
I hope no commercials. I hope as well we get it over here in the UK. I really would like to see that going forward. Just to get a proper run around. No commercials, proper free. Just put it on Sky. Give it to Sky or TNT. If it's already going to TNT, give NASCAR to TNT Sports. Trust me, you won't regret it. McLeod is the highest of the qualifiers, by the way, to race his way in. He's 6th place at the moment. I can see him on the screen. And Reagan's down in 20th. And Kaz Grala is down in 21st position at the moment, and he's a second back. He's been dropped on this little pace. Up the inside comes Herbst once again, with Christopher Bell running up high, but Bubba Wallace in a comfortable, controlling place at the moment. He leads this second duel at Daytona.
And remember, Kaz Grala didn't even get to set a qualifying lap last night. What did they come up with? What did we come up with on that, Josh? Was it a gear shifting issue? Didn't get to put in a lap, so now that means he has to race his way in, and he is at the tail end of this group. He hasn't lost the draft, which is good. And again, for a driver and team like that, you might as well just hang out at the back, try to avoid any carnage. Don't do anything until after the pit stops and when it gets into crunch time, then make your move. But right now, he's got to beat B.J. McLeod and David Reagan to get in, and McLeod's running 6th. What a great run from B.J. McLeod from Wauchula, Florida. What a great drive this is from the 78 team in Live Fast Motorsports. No sponsor on that car. It'd be nice if they could make the race, have a good run tonight. Someone hop aboard and get on the hood and quarter panels of that car for Sunday.
How much do you think it would cost?
There was an engine change on the 36.
Engine change on the
as well
36.
overnight.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Josh T. How much, Matthew, do you think it would be to get USRN and JB Motorsports and Grid Networks logos on those cars?
I got to tell you, if we could scrape along just a couple of hundred, I think they would even take that. That's a very underfunded team. They'll take any money they can get right now. He's now the leader of the outside line, BJ McLeod. He's running 5th. He's the lead car on the outside. Yeah, if we could just scrape together a few $100s, buy them a set of tires, I think they would take it. That's not unprecedented, by the way. In 2001, Kenny Wallace came into Speed Weeks without a sponsor, but once he raced his way in through the qualifying races on Thursday, all of a sudden he popped up Sunday for the 500, and Duke's Mayonnaise was on the side of the car. He got a sponsor just because he qualified into the race on Thursday. So hopefully someone will hop on to that 78 car if indeed he can make it.
I'll do it in a heartbeat as well. So if they haven't got a sponsor after this one, we'll have some words and get some money around as well if they choose to enter more races. Haley up into 6th position as well. And guess who's going to commercial break on that half distance of the second duel here at Daytona as well? Sense. They've gone side by side. I mean, that's. I think if you want a commercial, I think side by side is the best way to go around it. I really do.
Well, there is no excuse. Now, in these days, there's no excuse for every break to not be side by side. For years, IndyCar has done that.
Yeah.
IndyCar has not had a full screen break, at least under green, in ages.
I didn't know that because over here in the UK, we go over to the UK commentator and we stay full screens. I didn't know in America they go into side by side.
They do. They've done that for, like I said, years. I mean, I'm talking almost 2 decades now. They've been doing that on IndyCar, so I don't know why we can't do it every race for NASCAR, but people want to get their commercial on TV, and they want it full screen for all the money they're paying to get the commercial on. They want it full screen, I guess.
Still annoys me. Still annoys me. Advertising. It's honestly bad. I mean, we've got ads here on the YouTube channel, but I made a point. Ads will run anytime in practice. They'll run in between the breaks of qualifying, but during racing, no adverts will play at all. No adverts are scheduled. Don't care if I lose money on it. I cannot put an advert in the middle of a race because it would just, to me, I am an alternative motorsport commentary with timings. If I put an advert in a race, I'm letting the side down. Don't do it. It's one of my moral standpoints. No commercials in races. Unless it's like a red flag or a safety car, then it's sort of questionable. Not even a safety car, even if it's just red flag.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think you'd get a lot of fans here in America with that thought process.
I'm looking forward to the NASCAR red flags as well because I can just set it on to every 6 minutes and that'll be fine. But right now, I remember. I just thought, if we're side by side, why have I turned the volume down from the track? But then I remembered because there's an advert playing, so we can't hear the track still.
Yeah.
So that's the annoying bit. But Bubba Wallace still leading this way. Zane Smith's moved his way up to 5th position. And BJ McLeod in that 78 is running 3rd. And not just running 3rd, a secured 3rd.
Yeah, that's incredible. We're seeing some really good runs by some drivers that we may not have expected to be at the front here in this race. McLeod, Haley, Zane Smith up there too, the former series champion. Riley Herbst as well has been up front all race long. So this is really good to see. But again, we say all of that. Just want to mention, once we have our pit stop and then we get to brass tacks, I think you'll see the guys like Blaney, Hamlin, Keselowski, and so on start to ease their way to the front. In fact, Keselowski is slowly on his way. Last time we checked on him, right, Josh, he was like 20th. Now he's 12th.
Yeah, so he's going right up there as well. So great job from Brad Keselowski as well. As we see BJ McLeod, Fox have finally picked up on what we were talking about in the commentary, and they've highlighted that he's running in 3rd position. Somebody get some sponsorship on there. We've got the second draft starting to appear. The top 5 starting to think about, do I go high, do I go low? As we swoop round, I think we're getting ready for the pit stops here. If my instincts are right, that's why we're seeing this sort of drift up high line, judging by your own logic, Matthew, from race 1.
Yeah, it should be pretty soon here. We're past halfway. They can go almost 45 laps. I don't think they'd want to go quite that far. They don't want to risk, because again, with no practice, they don't want to risk not running out of fuel. Let's hear from Larry.
Of any type they've turned.
And that's why we run the race. You got to get out on the racetrack to see what you have. You can only...
I think it's about how many laps they've turned it for fuel, actually. So it's the same that what you were just talking about there. Matthew?
Yeah, I would say they'll probably go in about 5 laps. More than likely, they'll hit pit road. And just like they did in the first race, they'll split it up. You don't want all 21 of these cars on pit road at the same time, trying to go from 190 to 70 miles an hour. We'll see groups of about 5 or 6 come in a couple of laps apart. Remember, we almost had a big crash coming to pit road in the first race. Everyone's got to be aware on that.
And again, the 34 Michael McDowell's just taking up. He's still in 6th position. Might have actually dropped back now, if my calculations are correct. Yep, to 7th position, because he's alongside Hersbert, who's running in 6th. There's Cindric running in 9th. They started 1-2 earlier on in this duel. As they swing past the control line once again. 25 laps to go, and Christopher Bell is right on the back of Bubba Wallace as they come into turn 1 and 2. Bell's thinking about the low line. Wallace chops him off by taking it down, and now the leaders have sacrificed the high line and have decided to swing low. Will they swing into the pit lane is the question at the end of this lap. They are keeping that low line in the backstretch, coming in towards the pit lane, and McLeod's down to 4th. Haley's running in through on the low line, so we might have McLeod take a lead, and the crew is getting ready for the 23. So are they coming in this lap? That's the question we need to see.
I think it'll probably be the next lap or two. Didn't see any tires up on the wall yet, but they're getting awfully close.
So it'll be next time around. Michael McDowell is just there. He's getting a little bit close to, as we see with Zane Smith. BJ is still down. He's estimated P3 on my monitor, but he's going to drop down to 4th, maybe even 5th here as well on the monitor, because it's all getting a bit close now. They're segregating as to who needs to come into the pit lane and who's going to carry on for another 2 laps. They're not all going to dive in straight away. Bell's pushing Wallace along, 190 miles an hour apiece. Into 3 and 4. They've got to be careful. Is this the pit lap now? That's the question. 24 to go. It was 21 to go for the first duel that they came in. It was almost a crash. We go around again.
With this sound right here.
Yep.
That's such a great sound.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great. I just love that. I can tell you based on experience. I was fortunate enough to go to a Daytona 500 in 2015. Just the sound the big pack makes when they're going away from you. When they're furthest away from you, you can almost hear a pin drop. But then like a jet gets closer and closer and closer. The sound builds and it explodes in your ear when they go by you, right like this.
There you go. Are they coming down? No, they're going to go around again. It's wonderful to be able to hear them as well.
Yeah. There's just nothing like it at Daytona, because, you know, you go to any racetrack, any racing series, when you hear a car go by at full song, it's a glorious sound. But when you're at Daytona or at Talladega and they're in one big pack, 30 of them going by you all at once, it's just unbelievable. If you feel that and hear that and live that and don't fall in love with it, there's something wrong with you.
If you're listening on JB Motorsports as well and wondering what the TV signal is going to be when US Rain have the commentary, they have the NASCAR drive, so they will be fine. They don't need Matthew, so you have some track car noise as well.
Yes, correct.
Fabulous. 21 to go. This is where we saw the first pit stop, well, the only pit stops really, in the first duel. 3 wide further back as McLeod battles. He's dropped down into 20th position. What's happened there to BJ McLeod? Dropped right back to Reagan and Grala as well. And he was on the lead. He must have got forced up high out of position. We've missed that on the Fox cameras.
Yeah, that's massive. He was running top 5, and now he's back there and behind Kaz Grala now. So, oh boy, that's dangerous. 20 laps to go. Now
Bubba
he's
Wallace coming in this lap.
great. Okay, Wallace coming in. That's good news. But yeah, that's terrible for McLeod. He was easily in the 500. Now he's in
Last.
a fist fight to make it, just like Jimmy Johnson was.
He's in last position. This is unbelievable for the 78. He's going to have a really super stop in order to get himself back into this race. They're coming in now. So, the top 4, definitely. I think Michael McDowell's going to go an extra lap at this rate. Swinging into 3 and 4 as they fly by. Oh, it does sound good. It's almost... And they're going past again. They've not pitted. They've gone through again. That's a surprise. I was 100% certain they were going to come in.
Yeah, I think these guys that are queuing up on the inside line, they're going to get in probably this lap, maybe another lap, but I think everyone's just trying to work out and get single file to avoid being in a big pack heading to pit road. But you got to do well with the hand signals. Is that a hand signal from Wallace?
Yeah.
Because you've got to let the guys know behind you. You can't just hit the brakes at 190 and the guy behind you plow into you. You've got to be able to communicate with these guys behind you.
And
I think we're going to come on pit road this time.
And they splice off, and it's literally like cutting off pieces of bread as they run down to 70 mile an hour. Let's go down pit road.
In the tri-oval, as far as the 23 of Bubba Wallace. Most laps he's ever led in a duel with 21 in this race. He looks for his first win in the duel.
Jay McLeod has made his stop.
Yeah, good stop as well. Now, who wins off pit road? That's the question we need to see. Look at Bubba Wallace going side by side. It's going to be off pit road. Answer come there none. Computer hasn't told me. Yeah.
So Wallace lost a couple of spots. Remember, he was the leader coming on. He was third coming off. Now here comes some more on pit road. I think these are going to be a whole bunch of Fords.
Oh, McDowell!
McDowell locks up the left front. McDowell locked up the left front, trying to get down to 70 miles an hour. And like I said earlier, if you don't want to take 4 tires, you cannot slide tires. Let's go to Regan.
Been that way on the radio. Barry Cobb hasn't said a word. Jamie?
Pulling to their pit box. They've been working together. You saw them line them up on pit road. They want to take care of their tires. Just enough fuel here to make it to the end.
And Michael McDowell wins the race off pit road, but was he speeding? Does he have a drive-through coming his way? We'll have to see in a second. Josh Teal tells us when he get back in the comms box. Burton leads this race, but they are all going to come in, as well as Blaney, Kozlowski, Reagan and Graz are coming in now as well.
Michael McDowell locked up that left front pretty big, and they did not change tires, so I hope he didn't flat spot one.
And we go back to blurry pictures to make my eyesight just a little bit worse as they come in again. There's the 21. So all going well so far, Matthew.
Yeah, all clean here on these pit stops so far. Just want to make sure there are not any penalties.
Looks okay to me so far. They're gonna go a lap down because Michael McDowell running P6. It's still side by side further back with Hamlin, Cindric, Briscoe, and Byron as well in there too.
Yeah, the one I would be nervous about possibly speeding is McDowell because he did lock up that left so big. We haven't heard any. Oh yes, we did get one. Zane Smith, the rookie, was caught for speeding.
So Zane Smith will get a drive through and will drop back. It's now, well, it was Ryan Blaney leading this race, but now you're seeing everybody else blasting through on that pack. Michael McDowell leads. Denny Hamlin up into second position, and he's going for the lead against Michael McDowell. They're coming towards the tribal section as well. He's right up close to him as well. Coming in is Briscoe, but swinging down low. Here comes Austin Cindric to third position. Byron's coming through as well. Suddenly, the lead of the race explodes into action, and they've got to be careful here not to cause a caution. Michael McDowell leads. Hamlin's right up alongside. Cindric third, Byron into fourth. Kyle Busch up into fifth position. And look at that. That is the 15. parting the Red Sea. 3 wide, and that might be a problem for the 42. Just gets through, and that's Reagan getting passed by McLeod. So far, McLeod in the way.
And that's big for McLeod to get by Reagan and Gralla. Currently, he's in a spot to get to the Daytona 500. I think Kaz Gralla's lost the draft, has he?
What's up in
Yeah,
here?
he has.
Yeah.
Kaz Gralla's lost the draft, so BJ McLeod's in a good spot right now. By the way, I just want to mention, what was I saying
Put
about
it out, put it out, front stretch.
What was I saying about 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
That after the pit stops, Denny Hamlin would jump to the front. All of a sudden, here he is, running in second.
Denny Hamlin's going to have a go at Michael McDowell here as he comes out in towards the backstretch. It's going to be very tight. McDowell's going to go a little bit sideways. Berry's past Bubba Wallace. Nemechek's passing Haley. Reagan passes McLeod. Bell passes Allmendinger as well as they will swing through once again in towards turn 3 and 4. Caution's out. Bubba Wallace down pit road. And the yellow flag displayed. We haven't seen on TV pictures just yet. Now they race until they get that yellow. We haven't seen anything happen so far. Cindric going wide, 3 wide in the mid-pack, and there's the spin, and it's a big one in the wall for the 12, and the big one has happened here at Daytona. It's fire everywhere, and surely a red flag as the entire field get wiped out. About 8 cars involved, and it's a big one for the 12, who's on fire in the middle of the pack. Ryan Blaney, bang into the wall, caution out, surely a red flag.
BJ McLeod was involved in that. We'll see how much damage BJ has. Kaz Gralla had lost the draft, so Gralla's going to be able to avoid this, but how much damage does BJ McLeod have? And that
Kyle Busch
second
too.
straight down to Daytona that Ryan Blaney has taken a near head-on shot into the Daytona wall. That was a massive hit.
Husband's involved too, so that's 2 of the runarounds, and that is Husband out of the race as well. So BJ McLeod, I think hopefully, yeah, there he is. He's got damage. Front left tyre is down.
They're going to have to get to pit road quickly and try to...
Red flag!
Well, they're going to have to change 4 tires for sure. Try to bang out that right front fender on McLeod. This is so unfortunate. Remember at one point running in the top 5 in this race, McLeod might have just lost a spot in the Daytona 500 right there. David Reagan did make it through, however, and that is big for McLeod because if Reagan beats Gralla, McLeod can still make it in. There was a lot of moving and shaking as we went to the Tri-Oval, and we say it every year. The Tri-Oval is the trickiest part of this racetrack. You are making a full left turn in the Tri-Oval, but you only have 18 degrees of banking to work with, so the cars get really light in the rear through the Tri-Oval, and there was a lot of moving and shaking going on around William Byron and Ryan Blaney. Blaney broke to the outside of Byron. Byron threw a big block. Blaney with a crossover to his inside, took the air off the back of Byron's car into the Tri-Oval. Byron got loose, lost it, got into Blaney, and into the middle of the pack they both go, and there's nowhere to go for everyone else. And McLeod almost had it missed, but he got clipped by Darrell Wallace Jr. coming down the track. Then he ran into the side of Ryan Blaney. I don't think William Byron was hit by anyone. He just had the air off the spoiler of his car taken off from under him when Blaney made that move, and Kyle Busch is the one behind Byron. We're about to see it again on our pictures. Kyle Busch is going to be the car behind William Byron here.
He starts it
I
off.
don't think there was any contact. I just think the air came off the spoiler of Byron's car, and that's what got him around.
Let's take
Yeah, there was no contact.
No contact, no, you're right. Oh. So
And
Byron...
that's the second straight visit to Daytona that Ryan Blaney has taken just about a head-on shot into the Daytona wall.
Byron did get a whack on the rear left from somebody. I can't quite tell. The red flag is up. Ah, there we go. HD pictures, funny. Red flag is out, by the way, so the race is stopped. Blaney's car's going to have to probably go to the backup with the amount of damage it's got.
Yeah, all of those guys will be in the back of the car.
At least they've got the 2 practice sessions, though, to get that ready. That's probably the good thing about having 2 practices after the duels. They will get some testing on that car. 2 hours, of course. Red flag out then, here at Daytona in the second duel. With 13 to go, the cars stopped on pit road after the big one. In the pre-race build-up, in the tri-oval, and seeing it in HD, oof. It was the 51 who clipped to the side of Byron, actually, so it was Justin Haley hit him.
Gosh, those are heavy impacts. Let's listen to Christopher Bell trying to make his way through. Golly, wow.
Floored it.
Talk about parting the Red Sea.
He put it down straight away to floor it. He did not want to be involved in anything like that, did he? Oh. Now, how did... Bubba did get spun. So Bubba was involved in that. Now, he crossed the pit lane line, and it flashed up that he was in there. But he's been banged up, but should be okay. He has dropped down to 13th place.
Oh, that's right here. This is Blaney.
At least 5 hits, though, I counted.
Yeah, you start to think after all of that, where's the next hit going to come from?
Oh.
My goodness.
Everybody flying everywhere. The big one at Daytona. And the red flag out. Well, where do we go from there then, I suppose? With a stopped race, I wonder.
Why is it always Blaney? Just why?
Don't know,
Yeah,
but...
that guy's taken some hard hits the last 6 or 7 months. You think of Nashville, think of here at Daytona in August, that head-on hit in Turn 4. He's taken some hard hits lately.
And also, bang goes me and Josh T finishing at 3 a.m. It's going to be longer than that, so sleep schedules, RIP at the moment coming into it. So, just have a look at it. Michael McDowell then, he's classified as the leader, so he'll take us back to green flag running when this race restarts. So
I cannot think of the last time Ryan Blaney had a clean race at Daytona.
It does take a while, doesn't it, to think about it. A quick question. Are you two okay on your own for 2 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent. I'm going to go restart this so we have an up-to-date stream. So I'll leave you with Matthew and Josh T.
Oh, those were some heavy hits taken particularly by Ryan Blaney. By the way, Josh, did you see the first ARCA practice was today? Did you see who was fastest in ARCA practice?
No, I did not.
Marco Andretti.
Okay, wow.
Shane Van Gisbergen was 13th fastest. But yeah, Marco Andretti.
I also had no idea that Shane Van Gisbergen was doing ARCA.
Yes, he's doing the ARCA race this weekend. So Marco Andretti was fastest from Patrick Emmerling, Willie Mullins, Chris Wright, and Dale Quarterly in the first ARCA practice. ARCA hoping to run their race, their season opener at Daytona on Saturday if the weather will cooperate.
Yep, currently it's a 45% chance for the ARCA race, if I remember correctly. But what a hit for Ryan Blaney. He just cannot get going at the Daytona circuit. And with how many hits that Ryan Blaney has had just before that, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Gregson, Blaney, Briscoe, Hurst, Wallace, Byron, Haley, and BJ McLeod was all involved in that. But it's just insane, and that's a lot of cement dust going down from that massive hit from Ryan Blaney. This is just NASCAR as with all the big hits that Ryan Blaney has had. If you pull it off in the playoffs and you have so many big hits in the regular season, you can still get it done and win the championship. But yeah, so absolutely insane. Red flag was flown on lap 47 of 60. It says stage 1 of 3, but I can say that there is only one stage today, and all I've got is the NASCAR officials in my ears coordinating lineup 34, 11, 2, 20, 4, 42, 6, 78, 16, 51, 21, 60, 24, 23, 36. So that is the lineup from, and then the 71 at the end.
Thought you were calling
And-
off lottery numbers for a minute there.
Engines are being refired, which is a good sign.
That's very good indeed.
And this is a good time for me to resync my pictures with Joss's updated pictures.
Well, that's good to know that they are getting set to fire the engines off here pretty shortly. Go back
Withdraw
from
the reds, yellow is out. We are
Very
back under
good.
caution.
Perfect. So that's two pretty hard hits now that we've seen tonight between Daniel Hemrick in the first race and Ryan Blaney here in this second.
Yeah, and in the in the first race, of course, in the first duel, as the cars are back rolling out on track, and we're under caution, lap 47 of 60. But of course, with all of this, they say that people spin to feel sorry for the car who has spun. Well, a car spun, another car spun because they felt sorry for that car, and then the third car spun because they felt sorry for the other two. But that is the definition of synchronized spinning here at Daytona earlier on. But cars are rolling, and I unfortunately don't have the audio set up, so we can't hear from Ryan Blaney. I tried to set that up, but then I figured out that I would get the track audio, not the actual speakers. But just having a look at the replay of that hit, Matthew, and a really, really hard hit.
Yeah, just again had the air taken off the rear of William Byron's car right in the tri-oval. That's the worst place to have the rear of the car get unstable, and that's what kicked all of this off. Nobody did anything wrong there.
Yeah.
Just that's what happens on these super speedways.
Absolutely, and all of the cars that are down on pit lane right now, Matthew, who are involved in the wreck, pit road was closed, so they are all going to the back of the field.
Hello.
Hello.
I thought I'd just take the opportunity to get everything ready. Here's Bud Kosowski's on the radio.
The 24 was coming down, and when he hit him just a little bit, it instantly turned him. Yeah, I didn't know the 24 was in front of the 8. Like, half a foot. Yeah, but when they started all checking up, it just all crumpled quick. Yeah, 10-4.
Yeah, I just thought I'd take the opportunity to refresh everything and make sure it's all good for the last 12 laps while we had that red flag. Thank you, guys. So, red flag lifted. We're coming back to the green. Let's take another look at it. And was there contact is the question that we asked ourselves, Matthew. Let's take a look. Was there any? So we think
There
it's...
was contact between Busch and Byron. Maybe the question is, was there contact between Busch and Keselowski? I think we're about to hear from Kyle, and maybe he can tell us.
It's a tough spot because you have all that momentum. We're getting closer to the end of the race. And you gotta push, and the spotter, part of his responsibility is making sure that he's telling you what that gap is in front of the car that you're pushing. Josh?
Kyle Busch checked the release from the infield care center. Kyle, what happened there from your perspective, and what did you see on the replay as well?
Was getting a push a little bit from the 6 there, and the 24 I saw kind of got messed up out of line and slowed down. I tried to lift and roll out of the gas smoothly, and I was still gaining too fast, and then I got all the way out of the gas and got bumped again from behind, and just accordioned into the 24 and sent him spinning. You don't want to hit a guy in a tri-oval. I've been there, I've done that, and I've also rolled out of here in an ambulance before doing that, so I know it's not the right thing to do, but sometimes you don't have a choice, and it turned to 24 sideways and caused a wreck. So our zone Camaro was pretty fast. I felt good about it. Couldn't really make any moves though, man. What a frustrating race. Just sitting in line, saving fuel, stuck on the bottom, can't go anywhere. You get back in line, you want to go forward, and we were taking the momentum, whichever way the momentum was coming, and just end up wrecked.
Thanks, Kyle.
Sorry, I didn't realise that Matthew wasn't actually in the camera box there. I forget sometimes. But he's here. Hello. So yeah, what do you reckon? There's Bubba's car.
Yeah, and I mean, Kyle just described super speedway racing right there. He had one car in front of him get out of line. That cost Byron momentum, but he's still getting pushed from behind from Keselowski, and they just come together. Like we said while you were away, Josh, nobody did anything wrong right there. No one's at fault. That's just super speedway racing.
Belay, go on.
Unfortunate.
Now that is Berry getting pushed in and restarting.
Josh?
Yes, Josh T, go on.
I don't know if you are able to, but in the break, when you were up fixing it, we missed an interview from Ryan Blaney, so I don't know if you can do your magic. I've put the link in comms chat.
Oh. Let's have a look, see if I...
Just glad
now,
it's okay and checked and released from the infield care center.
There is Blaney. Now that shouldn't be anything going wrong because I'm not touching anything on that screen. I'm having a look. I'm trying. I'm playing some magic. Here's the big one. Yes, we can. Let's hear from Ryan Blaney, who's been released from the medical centre.
Care Center. Ryan, what happened there from your perspective?
I have no idea. I saw the replay and it looks like a terrible push once again. Right gets me right reared into the wall. So I don't know who it was, who it stems from. 6 in the back of the 8, 8's left, and I get hooked. So shitty pushes by people 3 times in a row in Daytona, and got a wrecked race car. So I'm getting pretty sick of getting right reared by someone's awful push. So it's unfortunate we got to build a whole new 500 car. But we had a fast Menards Peak Ford Mustang tonight. Just shame it's ruined by someone else.
Thanks, Ryan. Glad you're okay.
Oh, he's not happy, is he, guys? He's beyond happy.
And a former teammate there, Brad Keselowski. Listen, when you take this many head-on hits at 190 miles an hour that Ryan Blaney's taking, you're gonna get ticked off at some point. And we're about to see it on our screen now. They put it in slow motion. Look at how quickly the wheel. Oh my God! He has to take the hands off the wheel so he doesn't break a wrist. That's the first impact with the wall, but then you've got a whole pack of cars coming in. He's closing his eyes. He can see the cars coming towards him.
I'm terrified.
After so many of times of this happening, you're gonna get ticked off.
1 to go at the line.
Confirmed, by the way, the 12, the 8, the 15, and the 10 are out of the race. So Blaney, Bush, Hersbert and Gregson out. Red flag was out for 8 minutes 48 seconds, so not bad at all. I love the laps and rundowns that we get from the NASCAR scoring monitors. I'm loving these monitors. I got the media access 3-4 days ago and loving it. Has yours come through yet, Josh T?
Let me check.
Yes, I would, because they're doing it, yeah. Matthew's got one as well, I know. Loads of stats in everywhere. 99 pages of season stats they give us, and then 21 pages for individual events. I wish Formula 1 did that. I have to create all mine for Formula 1.
Not yet. All I've got is my NASCAR fantasy.
Ah, okay. Make sure to check your junk folder as well, by the way. That's always the case. There's Kaz Grala, currently running in 7th position. Basketball is something that's very popular here in USRN.
Round ball rock in the background. Oh, wow.
good, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. Oh, that made my night right there. I'm ready to go.
March Madness coming up soon, though, isn't it?
Yeah, can't wait.
How many are you covering this year?
Interestingly enough, it starts in March. Didn't know if you guys do that, but March Madness, it starts in March.
To be fair, at Cambridge University in London, they have May Week, which is basically when all the students take a week off after doing all their exams, sit back, relax, and partying. But guess what? May Week's in June.
Oh. Okay, well, that's just...
Nobody
makes total sense.
Yeah, nobody knows it. Anyway, for the third time tonight, we're going to restart a race. Here we go. Duel 2 at Daytona. 8 to go at the line. McDowell, Hamlin, Cindric, Bell, Nemechek, Keselowski made his way up to 6th position. Grala in 7th. Reagan's 10th. BJ McLeod down to 13th place. 16 remain here at the second duel for the Blue-Green Vacations. Duels at Daytona. They begin to form up on the banking. Ready, once again, the cameramen and women around the stands. That was ridiculous, isn't it? It's punch in the air. Here we go. You can already see he wants to have that high line. Hamlin, Bell, Nemechek, Keselowski all taking the low line. Green flag out in the air again at Daytona. We're racing. Good start from McLeod. Hamlin's going to have to sort of lift off a little bit. Look at Cindric again. It's like a replay from the start of the second duel here. They hit the front 1-2. Bell hits the back. And Hamlin takes the lead. He's first into turn 1 and 2. And he's jumped clear massively. BJ McLeod's going to get loosed out to Bell here down the back straightaway. Matthew, you said it would happen, and it's happened. And look at that. Bell's taking the lead.
Yeah, big run there by McDowell. Hamlin got too far out in front. McDowell had a big push coming from Cindric. That was a huge run coming right at Hamlin. He could do nothing about it. But where this counts, Kaz Grala, he is 4th on the outside line. He is ahead of Reagan. He is ahead of McLeod. Grala is in a position to race his way in. He's got to hang on to that spot ahead of Reagan and McLeod for 7 more laps.
Just wanted to listen to them go by. So it's McLeod leading, then it's Cindric, then it's Keselowski in a battle with Hamlin. Hamlin's taken the low line and he's in 3rd, going for the 2nd. And now they're side by side on the backstretch. We have 16 cars left. It's pretty much even Stevens as they head down towards turn 3. Austin Cindric fights his way up into 2nd position as well. Keselowski takes the high line. Hamlin takes it down low. Now let's take a look at the replay. What are we looking at here from Hamlin at the green? No, I'm not sure what they were looking at there. What are they finding out?
Not sure what they're looking at either, unless they're reviewing the restart for something. But there was nobody changed lanes before crossing the start-finish line, from what I've seen, which would be a penalty, as Hamlin is coming back after McDowell. It's hammer time for Denny Hamlin.
And Hamlin takes it, and here comes Christopher Bell again alongside McDowell. Didn't work out last time. They had to back 3 wide further back as well. The 14's going to get sent out, and up there as well is BJ McLeod. Chase Briscoe keeps it in, but drops to the back, and with him falls BJ McLeod. Bubba Wallace moves up into 14th position there as well. Remember, 16 left in this race. McLeod running 15th, and Hamlin takes the lead, and this time he's bringing Christopher Bell with him, side by side with Michael McDowell coming in behind. Austin Cindric coming in too as they approach the tri-oval. Hamlin leads a lap in the duel.
Got 3 Toyotas lined up on the bottom, Hamlin, Bell, and Nemechek. They're right on the bottom of the racetrack, so those 2 Toyotas trying to work together. Meanwhile, further back, Kaz Grala has 1 car between himself and David Reagan. Remember, Reagan is in no matter what, but Grala has to beat McLeod and Reagan to make it in. He's got to beat them both. Right now, he is. Hamlin, meanwhile, down the back straightaway, surges to the front with a push from teammate Christopher Bell.
Oh, and here comes the 42 with Nemechek as well, as you were saying. He's right up there, pushing all of them along. Burton's up to 8th, Grala's down to 9th. Byron's up to 10th. Reagan down into 13th from Briscoe moving up, so they're all still close together. Michael McDowell's just insistent of staying in. Whoa, big chop off from Hamlin. He gets a tap from McDowell. That unsettles Hamlin. It almost put him in the wall once again. And now we're 3 wide, and look at that. McDowell sinks faster than a stone.
No, that's way too late of a block from Denny Hamlin. He got away with it because Michael McDowell let him get away with it. If McDowell keeps his foot on the throttle here, this is another big wreck. That's way too late from Denny Hamlin. That is an irresponsible block in the tri-oval at full speed. No. That's Michael McDowell wasn't alert and dumped out of the throttle. Denny Hamlin would have possibly been in the air in that crash. That's a terrible block from Denny Hamlin.
Just comes up the racetrack and it nearly cost Austin Cindric, as you said, a Constantina effect nearly happened as well. That's not good. And now Hamlin's taken the high line. Cindric's with him, along with Keselowski and Grala, and down low is Christopher Bell running in 3rd position now. In fact, Hamlin just lifted, and that's put Cindric back a little bit.
I don't know how much damage is on the BJ McLeod car, but he's not moving. Oh, look at this. Kaz Grala has Allmendinger moving to his inside. Kaz Grala might shuffled out here of a spot in the 500.
It's 3 wide for 3 rows coming through turns 3 and 4. That's very dangerous. I'm not looking at this one. Oh my word. Side by side, bunt drafting, and it's going to be 4 wide. They're trying to make it coming into the trial section as well. Hamlin leads with 2 to go, but it's 3 wide further back. Grala stays in 9th position. The fight for the 500 is coming in. Grala's down to 10th. Keselowski dropping back. Allmendinger's back up the fight as well, and now Grala's dropping back as here comes BJ McLeod.
McLeod is going to get by Grala. McLeod got by Grala. My goodness.
Josh T, pictures. Never mind. I changed my mind.
I don't know. BJ did that.
We've got pictures back, which is the great thing. Josh T, keep yours on, because I don't know what's going to happen next. BJ McLeod's in 13th position. He's battling with Grala. They're side by side, coming into turns 3 and 4. Reagan's in there too. He's just back on this little battle. Drop back is Briscoe. Bubba Wallace still in there for 10th position as well, fighting through. He's dropped behind. Allmendinger's in there too. It's the white flag, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Hamlin leads from Bell and Nemechek as they come through again. This is going to be a great run. Who's going to get it, Matthew? I don't know, but it's still close.
Hamlin's going to be throwing some massive blocks here down the back straightaway. They might get a big run on him. Bell's going to wind it up on the top side. Harrison Burton, well, where will he go?
Oh,
Bell
look at
tries
Bell.
to block off Burton. Now Bell gets a big push further back, trying to watch McLeod and Grala, as here comes Bell going for the lead on Hamlin.
Bell has the lead. Hamlin has dropped back, and here comes Burton coming through as well. Is Austin Cindric touching the apron? Up high goes the 21 of Burton. It's all open for Christopher Bell to ring in 2024 in fine style. We're starting on the 2nd row of the grid for the Daytona 500. It's going to be side by side. Cindric's with him. It's Bell who takes Daytona Duel 2. But who goes through? Grala from McLeod and Reagan. McLeod does make it.
Grala made it. Grala knocked it. Grala got by both of them.
Oh, no!
He had to beat Reagan and McLeod, and he did. Kaz Grala did it.
I don't believe it. At the line. Kaz Grala, who failed to set a lap time in the speed run yesterday, he takes the final spot today. And on my timing screen and now updates, because BJ McLeod is 14th and David Reagan is in 15th. Wow!
They were 3 wide coming to the line between Grala, Reagan, and McLeod. Remember, Grala had to beat them both, and he did. That is absolutely heartbreaking for BJ McLeod, who, remember, was running 3rd at one point in this race. He is out of the 500. Grala is in a 3rd entry for Front Row Motorsports. That was an incredible finish at the back to try to make the 500. Meanwhile, at the front, Josh, Christopher Bell lagged back. Look at the space that Bell got between he and Hamlin. That's to line up a big push from Burton down the back stretch. He faked low, went high. That's perfectly executed by Bell. He lost his qualifying race last year in a photo finish to Joey Logano. He timed it up perfectly this year, so Bell gets to the lead. He hangs on, nearly a crash between Burton and Cindric. Now, let's watch the back. Let's watch the back of the field. That black 78 on the outside. He's got a nose in front of Gralla when he came out of turn 4, but Gralla got a push from behind from Reagan. Two Fords working together.
Here we go.
And Gralla is blue and white 36. He's behind McLeod when they exited turn 4. He's ahead of Reagan. He's got to get ahead of that black 78 when they come to the line, and he's just going to do it by maybe 1 car length.
Bubba Wallace sort of stopped BJ McLeod's day there, didn't he? He sort of blocked him. He tried to go 4 wide. It just didn't work out. Flags out. Christopher Bell, he takes it and will start row 2, if I'm correct, Matthew?
He'll be on the outside of row 2 for the 500.
And on the inside will be Tyler Reddick. Let's go over.
Toyota sweeping the...
Wow, who would have thought that?
One on Sunday.
Yeah, it feels good. These plate races, man, they're, I don't know what to think of them. Me and Adam Stevens, my crew chief, we have a running joke that I always say these races are 100% luck, and I know that that's not true, but it seems like we've been struggling to get to the end of it, and you know, I know I've been a common denominator in a lot of the wrecks, so it feels good to do everything right today.
Well done.
Thank you.
Denny Hamlin's home third in duel number 2, trying your best to hold off Christopher Bell. What more did you need at the end, and what did you learn?
You know, I probably just needed to cover the top there a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, it was a great, really good move by him, and getting the momentum that it started to get stirred up there behind him. And you know, we're trying everything we can to block both lanes, and you just can't. You got to pick one. And really, just, you know, good solid day, and got some information to learn from, and we'll go race here on Sunday.
Thanks, Denny. Regan?
Well, it's quite the roller coaster ride for Kaz Gralla. Last night, of course, the troubles, and then you come here tonight. Looks like you're going to be okay. You lose the draft, then you get the draft back with the yellow flag. Somehow you raced your way into the Daytona 500. How are those nerves right now?
Oh, man, I'm just coming down from it, but that was so much more stressful than it needed to be for us. You know, for a little while there, we looked to be in good shape, and then, yeah, we had some trouble there. Pit road, we weren't able to stay with the draft. So just really proud of everybody at Front Row Motorsports. They worked so hard the last 24 hours to get our car ready to race today. We had some troubles yesterday, so really cool to be able to get it in the show for them. This is a big opportunity for me here, so excited to be here on Sunday again.
Have fun Sunday. Thanks, Kaz.
The Boston
Matthew, I'll hand over to you.
Well, Kaz Gralla, he won a truck race here at Daytona a number of years back from Boston, Massachusetts. What a run to the flag for Kaz to get in the Daytona 500. And boy, you certainly feel for BJ McLeod, who looked like he had it in the bag the whole race long. But ends up Gralla nips him at the line. But we had two races tonight, and we had 4 fantastic finishes. 2 great finishes at the front to win the race, and 2 great finishes in the middle of the field just to make the Daytona 500.
Taking my glasses off, actually, as well, because after the pixelated sort of mess, my eyes are really sore after that.
Yeah.
It sort of, it got itself at the end. With 2 laps to go when it froze, I thought panic stations, but that's why Josh T's here to give us that. I would have, the last 2 laps, if you were watching on YouTube, I would have been like this. I wouldn't have even been on the screen. I would have been bent down, looking closely at the Discord screen, which is below the main monitor. Ideally, I'd have 2 monitors either side, but I'm not made of money. But what's the broadcast like now then? How long until we find out the main starting grid? Are Fox likely to show it? That sort of thing?
I think they will. It'll be an unofficial grid because we don't know who will be going to backup cars and all of that from the accidents. But they likely will show an unofficial grid for Sunday, I would think. But what we know for sure is it'll be Joey Logano and Michael McDowell on the front row, and then Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell on the second row.
Now, I understand.
Wow, I'm just
gone.
Words.
I am too. What's your race day build-up? Because we've got 90 minutes on the clock. What have you got?
Yeah, I think we've got something similar. I don't know right off the top of my head, but I think it is something similar. And then, of course, who knows on the weather? On the weather front.
I know. I'm thinking the same thing and panicking about how long we're going to be on air for, because if it's anywhere after 6 hours, YouTube doesn't tend to let you edit if there's music in it for some reason. So can't seem to mute it. So we'll just roll with the punches, I guess. But it is fantastic. Josh T, down there in the pits, who's been with us tonight for technical support. Very much needed. Adam Lemridge will be back with us here on JB Motorsports for the 500 race on Sunday. Main reason Josh T is here is because literally the TV pictures were so freezy, I couldn't risk it in a race. So, Josh, what did you make of that one?
Absolutely incredible Duel 1 and Duel 2. Glad that Ryan Blaney has been checked and released from the care centre after that amazing hit. But
here's the
the
grid.
Daytona 500 unofficial starting lineup.
Do you want to take us through it, Matthew?
Yeah, let's go ahead again. This is unofficial, but it's Logano and McDowell in the front row. Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell in row 2. Chase Elliott in row 3 with Austin Cindric. Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin in row 4. Carson Hocevar and John Hunter Nemechek in row 5. Again, the inside row is the first race finishers. The outside row is who ran the second race here tonight. Row 6 will be Eric Jones and Harrison Burton. Row 7, Daniel Suarez and Zane Smith. Ty Gibbs and Brad Keselowski in row 8. Kyle Larson in row 9 with his teammate William Byron. That's a very interesting 9th row. Row 10 is Chris Buescher and Chase Briscoe, a couple of fast Fords in row 10. Row 11, Ross Chastain and Justin Haley. Row 12, Jimmy Johnson and Darrell Wallace Jr. Ryan Preece in row 13 with Kaz Grala, who raced his way in. Mark Truex Jr. and AJ Allmendinger in row number 14. Row 15, we'll have Corey LaJoy and Josh Berry. And then the final few rows for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Todd Gilliland and Ryan Blaney in row 16. Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch in row 17. These are guys caught up in wrecks tonight. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in row 18 with Riley Herbst. Row 19 is Daniel Hemrick and Noah Gragson. The 20th and final row are the two drivers that time trialed their way in last night, Anthony Alfredo and David Reagan. That is the unofficial starting grid for the 66th Daytona 500 Sunday on USRN and JB Motorsports.
I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely amazing, and we'll both be on air for that one. You can tune in on USRN Radio via the Mixlr app, and of course here on JB Motorsports on YouTube and on Twitch. We'll be keeping you up to date with all of the action, and I know USRN have it. Should we check in actually with Mike Joy, Kevin Hammond, Clint Boyer?
Sure showed the speed when the time was right and the money's on the line. The Fords, this new body on the new Mustang, the Dark Horse, not quite as good as we've seen in the last couple of years. Was it handling? Was it too tight? Something like that? An aero balance? Something? Maybe practice will show us some speed out of them. Strength is in numbers. They still have that. Can they use it on Sunday?
The one car that I really like tonight, and I think we agree on this, which is going to be rare, I've learned, is how well the 5 car could push. I love the way that the 5 car could push. It seemed like the Hendrick cars that ran had a little better handling than they had in the last couple of years, so that'll be interesting to see that progress on Sunday.
Great. I love that. Always had the speed with the Hendrick camp. Showed that with qualifying year after year after year. Didn't sit on the pole this year. All of a sudden, here's the handling and that long run speed that they're looking for in a 500-mile race.
Quickly, anything you saw you didn't expect tonight?
Well, I saw a huge wreck. I think as the race progressed and the pushing and shoving became more important, they started pushing and shoving, and the next thing you know, we had a wreck. So we tore up a lot of cars.
I am Kevin Harvick. Well, he's Kevin Harvick, but that's what airs next right here on FS1. And
yeah, I'm going to go watch that as well, actually. I've got a stream for it, so no bedtime for me just yet. I'll take a quick look at that. Going forward. Oops, the grid music's starting again. Didn't mean that to happen. To come into it. Sorry about it. So, I guess it's wrap-up time. Have we covered everything, Matthew? I don't want to go off air without anything missing.
No, I think we covered it, and we gave you the unofficial starting grid, and then just to add on to that, unfortunately, going home tonight and missing the Daytona 500, B.J. McLeod and J.J. Yaley.
Thank you, Matthew. Right, we'll end on JB Motorsports, YouTube and Twitch. Then we'll end on USON, as is always the plan. So for everybody watching, just a reminder, we will be covering the two practice sessions that are coming up with NASCAR Radio. That's tomorrow and on Saturday. You can join us for all the action. And then on Sunday, we're live for the Daytona 500 as well. Don't forget, we've also got on Monday and Tuesday the final 2 days of pre-season testing for MotoGP from Qatar, the Losail International Circuit. 10 a.m. Will be underway for that one GMT time as well. And then we'll all be going full spring into the end of it. And then, even better, going forward, we have the Formula One pre-season testing, 4 hours a day. How about that? On the Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we go racing again with the Atlanta race for NASCAR. It's going to be non-stop. Then a week later, it's Formula One time with F2, F3 and everything else kicking off under the sun. My thanks to Josh T. My thanks to Matthew Owens. We're staying on USON for a few moments after this, but for everyone watching on JB Motorsports YouTube and Twitch, thank you very much for joining us. We've got our grid. We know who's going to be participating for the 66th running of the Daytona 500. We'll see you ourselves on Sunday. You can join the NASCAR Radio for practice tomorrow. Bye for now.